All right, we're live. Welcome to my live stream episode 237. It's a little late, so I'm going to keep my voice relatively low. And, definitely want to respect the people in the house. But I need to color comics because I'm working on a crazy graphic novel that's due way too soon. I got an extension on it, but it's still quite a lot of work I need to do. So I need to take advantage of every free minute to kind of get it done. And that's what I'm going to be working on. So I'll be coloring page 70 of Not Death But Love, The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. It's a book that Lavender Roman wrote, and I'm illustrating, and we're doing it for Turner Publishing. And then we'll see how far I get on colors. My goal is to try to get pretty far on colors, but I have a hard out at the latest at like 2. And so we'll see how this goes. I don't think I'm going to listen to content today. I think I don't want to do commentary. I think I'll just kind of off the cuff freeform it and kind of talk as I'm working. And also, I just wanted to mention that there is a vlog that I have, vloggins that I have uploading right now. I got back to that. I talked to you guys about that on like the last 2 streams, how I kind of was hoping to bring the vloggins back. And I've successfully did another one today. So that's that. Let's get into art, and maybe I can do some of my intro stuff during that. The process I'm using to color isn't specific to all comics. It's just comics where you're using pencil line or line that is anti-aliased. Generally, your lines are going to be aliased, and like when you're working on cleaning up inks. And this is like in the case where you have inks that are kind of pencil-y. How's it going, Frank? Frank, if you're up and you want to hop on, you're more than welcome. You're invited, but you don't have to. But I can send you a link if you wanted to hop on, because this is definitely not. I'm not going to be. I am totally after. I feel flat earthed out. Frank was saying debate, risk, or draw. I think mainly tonight I'm planning on just drawing and kind of talking and talking stream of consciousness. If if no one joins, but if you want to join, let me throw you on here, and maybe we can have a conversation. Okay, so I will be sending Frank a link, Mr. Frank Salazar of Salazar Art Nation. See if I can find. There we go. Frank, I sent it to Facebook. So let me know if you have trouble getting that, but the link's been sent to Facebook, and I'll do my intros and stuff and all that fun stuff while I draw. So boom, here we go. We've got our drawing camera. I'll have to resituate. I think I have like a thin stack thing, but it's been a while since I've used it. So I might just have to resituate OBS a little bit. But once Frank joins, we'll talk to him. So yeah, today has been crazy. It's been like, let me explain what I'm doing first before I kind of get into rambliness. So what I'm working on, like I said, it applies to like pencil line. So by alias lines, if I did this on an alias line, it would look like a solid black and solid white, kind of working like a stepladder. Anti-alias lines have kind of a blurred edge. The style that I'm doing this book in is I want it to look like an old school kind of Victorian book, because it takes place in the Victorian era. So I want it to almost look like toned plates or something. And so what I'm doing is flat colors, and they're underneath the line with the shading tones above the colors. And the way that I'm color selecting would be a lot easier on alias lines, where you have like that stepladder edge. Here is Frank Salazar. Hold on a sec. All right.
Hello.
How's it going, Frank?
Good, not bad.
Yeah.
I was just doing some a 6 fan arts challenges. So I earlier today I did the shredder, and I was just doing the spot. Starting the next one for tomorrow. So I'm just finishing that up.
Nice. That's awesome. Radness. Um, so is this like so aren't you working on like a villains thing?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, nice. And which villain are you working on now?
All right, so I did Shredder today, and I just finished the spot, and I started just very loose pencils for Mysterio. So I'll,
Nice.
I'll work on that one tomorrow. I got like a whole bunch of suggestions from people, and after I say like, "Hey, I got all the suggestions I need," people keep suggesting more, so I'm just writing them down, and I'll get to them.
I like it. I
uh,
feel like you need to do a now I'm blanking out. Oh my gosh. I can definitely tell today I'm a little tired. The Dalek. You need to do a Dalek.
oh, actually, that would be a cool one.
You should totally do a Dalek. Anyhow, that's
Yeah,
like if I had to draw a villain, I would draw a Dalek. They're amazing. They're little plunger faces.
yeah. I did the spot because like, oh, that one will be a little bit easier because I don't have to do a lot of coloring. So it's just black and white.
Nice,
But
nice.
yeah, let me put in the dollar.
So I'm a nerd for villains. One of the designs I did a long time ago that went kind of viral was a design called the League of Cliche Evil Supervillains, and I
Yeah,
did a bunch of heads of all the classic tropes of like a supervillain that are in comics. Um, but yeah, like villains are awesome. I feel like if I were to do action comics, I would be really into the writing of the villains. The villains are, they can be really fun. Did you
yeah.
see Scott Serklin's old TV show on
I
his YouTube?
saw. Well, I saw his video talking about it, but I haven't clicked
Oh, you
on the
got to.
show itself. So I actually forgot about it. Like, oh yeah, I need to go watch that because he just put up another video. I was like, and I'm behind.
Yeah, me too. I need to watch the one he put up, I think today. But
Yeah,
that that show was awesome. I'm really surprised it didn't get greenlit. It's kind of crazy the production quality they were doing.
oh,
It looks like a legit like 90s kids TV show. It's pretty amazing.
I thought it did air for a little bit.
I think they got a pilot aired, but I know
Oh,
they got it optioned.
oh,
But I
okay,
don't know
okay.
if the pilot aired. I gotta ask Scott more about it.
Oh, okay, because
But I know
I
they
thought
got optioned for
he
sure.
had it aired just in last after his friend passed away.
Yeah, it was like the yeah. It's
But
kind of a shame.
I'll have to rewatch because I didn't finish watching the first video.
Yeah,
And like, oh, I'll pause it and I'll finish watching it because I was walking to Chick-fil-A get something to eat. So like, oh, I'll get back to it. I didn't get back to it, so I need to get back to it and then watch the actual episode and then
yeah.
watch
It'll
the
be
new one.
good. It'll be. I think you. I like to me. I saw it and I was like, man, it like if that option has expired at all, I doubt it has. But if I were Scott, I'd be like kickstarting that thing as like a cartoon, you know,
Yeah,
because like maybe they can't have like the I don't know. It's just there's so much development that went into it. It's things like that that are a little hard. Like I mean, I know like Scott's like older and definitely like moved on and like has a career that's totally different now, but it always bums me out like you see this a lot in Hollywood too, where people will get like, their graphic novels or their stories optioned, and then they're just like put on a shelf and never see the light of day. And it's such a like, it's just, I can't, I don't know. Like, again, like, I think Scott has processed that at this point and is cool about it. But it's like that must have been heartbreaking to like go through all that work, all that development, and then have that like just not be able to move forward. It's just kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But also kind of a cool experience, I'm sure too. And like, but it's just, I guess it was just fascinating to see all because Scott's talked about that to us for a long time, and I hadn't seen a bunch of that development art that he showed, and it's like it's just crazy, like crazy awesome amounts of work, But it makes you wonder, at least it makes me wonder, like how many like brilliant ideas are just like sitting out there that didn't get greenlit,
Yeah, I remember I was watching something where someone was talking about it, how like you write scripts and so and they don't all get option, but the writer gets paid for them, but like there's like all these different scripts just either sitting on people's desks or a vault or in the trash that
Yeah.
you don't know like if they're like, man, these are really good scripts, but because like they didn't get picked up, they're just there.
No, it's crazy. Like living near Los Angeles, I'm not that near Los Angeles, but near enough to where I know people who like they do pitches all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they're always like getting options or like selling scripts. And it's of all those scripts that are sold, it's like really rare that any of them actually see the light of day.
Yes.
And quite often it's like the opposite, where they're buying the script because there's a slightly similar movie that they're working on,
Yeah.
and so they want to shelve it so their competition can't put out a movie that's very similar to theirs. So they just like
Yeah. Like
buy the rights to like anything that could compete.
they'll buy it up so
It's
it
like
can't
hush
be
money.
used. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyhow, I don't know. But anyhow, if anybody watching this channel is like following Scott Strickland, definitely make sure you check out that cartoon. It's kind of it's a treat that we're able to like check it out. It's pretty interesting, and it's crazy because it's like, like, people who are familiar with Scott, you like are probably familiar with like what his fabrications look like and stuff, like his set. And it's like weird to see that aesthetic like applied to like a children's show in the 90s. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
Like
like if you saw Pee-wee's Playhouse, but it was designed by Scott Strickland. It's weird.
yeah. Like that came before his mad scientist bit, right? Because he had
Yeah,
drawn a mad scientist, and I saw that, and I was like,
you're
"Oh,
like, it's Scott.
that's just Scott with white hair. He just didn't color the coat green."
Do you think Scott, like when he was watching like Back to the Future, thought that Doc Brown was talking to him every time he said "Great Scott"?
He just thought he was complimenting him.
He's like, "Oh my gosh, that's my future. I need to be him."
Yeah.
No, it's cool. I'm curious to see like the video that he just posted too looks really interesting because it's like it's a topic near and dear to my heart, which is the idea that like artists don't have to starve, which I 100% agree with. Um, or I think it was titled something like "Creatives shouldn't have to it is the starving creative a myth?" And I'm guessing, knowing Scott, that the answer will be hopefully not, or hopefully yes. It is a
Yeah.
myth. I
Starving
confused myself with the premise there. Sorry about that. So what did you think of all those crazy debates that I was watching recently?
Somewhere I didn't see the one before. I think part one,
Uh-huh.
but I saw the second one and this last one, which I don't know if that was just like the continuation of.
No, the
Part.
last one was just like me kind of continuing the arc, like the theme of kind of just checking out weird flat earther debates because it was
Okay, yeah,
fascinating.
yeah,
But I
because that
figured,
that Austin guy, cause that was like, ah, man, this guy's annoying.
It was interesting. I think I'll do a little more of that, but I want to measure it. Like I don't want to show, like super contentious debates that are gonna like get people upset or anything. Because again, like I'm an art channel. I'm not, I'm not trying to get in crazy things. But I also want to have some entertainment while I'm drawing.
Yeah, I think it was like a good balance to switch it up once in a while,
Yeah.
like the risk and then the debate and back more in art. Because
Yeah.
with the risk, I was like, what was interesting for me was just like how you were kind of dealing with people.
Yeah.
But like watching the game itself didn't really interest me. But it was just like how you're like, this guy he needs to do this. Okay, I'm gonna try this, and then so that was interesting, just seeing the strategy part. But like, but after a while, I was like, all right, that's enough. I get the gist of it.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that today, like why risk is so interesting to me. And I realized like all storytelling to me kind of is, and all graphic design or illustration is like you're trying to solve a problem.
Yes.
Like it's like this Rubik's cube that you're trying to kind of like um decode or whatever. And like you're trying to figure out how to like visually communicate an idea. And if you're doing it for a client, it's like you're solving their problem. Like they have something they want to say and you visually need to help them say it, right?
Yes.
And it's like, so it's very strategic and weird, like the way you approach comics, the way you approach art, at least I shouldn't say you, but the way I do. Um so it makes sense that like a game that's like strategy based would be so appealing.
Yeah.
Um but it is funny that it's not chess or something that's like way more cool. I had to pick Risk, which I love. I
Oh,
think it's a
Risk
great
is
game.
actually pretty interesting because I want to play, but like in like the actual board game.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just um, and the graphics are like really nice. I never seen that. I never seen the virtual one. So
Yeah, it's fascinating because it's like, to me, the thing that makes it interesting is at first it actually seems pretty simple. Like the game seems pretty simple, right? The rules
yeah,
are like real easy, like the basic rules, where you're just like, okay, you get a card every territory you take, right? You get like basically like you get troop bonuses when you control a continent, and like the bigger number usually is going to win, and there's a little bit of odds to it. Like maybe you'll have a bad roll, right? But it's mostly like strategy. So, but again, it's like doesn't seem like it would be that complex. So like you see these new players, this is what I find fascinating about the game, is like newer players, who think, okay, I know those basic rules, so I'm just going to steamroll everything in my path, right? Just
yeah,
just take everything out so that, there's nothing left, and then like I'll win the game. And it's like instead that strategy ends up being a losing strategy because it's so much more complex than the basic rules, because you have politics involved, right? And so it's like if you piss off everybody at the board, you may not last a turn. It's interesting. It's just fascinating. But it's also interesting to me because it's different enough to where I totally haven't mastered it yet. Like I haven't figured the thing out entirely. Because like I usually will do a morning game, like when I before I go to work, and then I try to do like a night game before I go to bed, right? Is this at all interesting? I just realized you brought up Risk, and I'm just diving all over it because I'm like, yes, let's talk about my favorite thing. Is it at all interesting? We can shift to talk about anything, honestly.
um, like I don't mind it. I just like don't know that much about it. But
Yeah. It's
yeah.
I guess I'll just sum up then. So basically I'm just saying it's interesting because it seems on its face like it's going to be a really simple game because
Yes.
the rules are so easy to digest, but then like once you get exposed to the politics of it and the fact that like it really is like this pretty decent approximation of like geopolitics because like you can't like just stack like giant troops on your borders without a response from your neighbor, right?
Yeah.
Like it, kind of like in the real world where like if I don't know, we're in the US, it's like if at the border of Mexico, Mexico just starts stacking an arsenal at our border, like of
Yeah.
course there's going to be a response, right? It's it's just fascinating how those kind of like real world kind of geopolitical concerns have to kind of come to play. It's really it's just a fascinating game. But this morning I got like steamrolled by like a completely new player. Well, I didn't get steamrolled. I just got like suicided into. Um, but so that's one of the things that's also interesting about it is like I never figure it out entirely, you know, where I'm like, I don't know if you can avoid that. I think you kind of can. Um, but it's hard to avoid that play. And it's interesting though, because I have definitely done like political maneuvering in those games where somebody ends up doing that to one of my opponents and I kind of moved it to be that way. So I know there's like a little bit more control over even that than like, you know, I've learned how to do. So, and I also still lose my temper a little bit too often with the game. Like meaning, you know, like you've probably seen a couple streams where like I misplay because like somebody's just irritated me to the point where I'm like, all right, let's just go
Yes.
to war, you know, like and it's like I need to get better at like kind of being patient with that, you know. But yeah, it's a fun game. What games what's like your favorite games to play when you're able if you're able to play games, you know, if you have the time?
It's mostly well like games that I play on my own when I have the downtime is like phone games. So
Yeah.
I'm playing actually right now what's it called? June's Journey, but it's one of those I Spy games where you solve like a scene by oh you gotta find the crow or this as you're just like looking for things in the scene and clicking on them and you gotta do
Okay.
it in a number certain number of time to get extra points uh,
Huh.
but it follows like almost like a storyline so it's like a um like well just a simple games where like the character pops up and then the text is like I need to do this. I gotta find this, and then you click, and then you're like, okay, look for the stuff.
Nice. What is it
And
that like appeals to you about that? Is it just kind of relaxing or
yeah, it's relaxing. It's also like just helps me kind of like look at things a little bit closer because I'm like,
yeah.
where is this thing? And like, okay, I'll do the hint, and like, oh, it's like either right there or kind of hidden.
Yeah.
So like so I kind of apply that in real life when I'm looking for something like okay, it's gonna be where I don't where it's gonna be so obvious, or I need to step back and like look carefully and like oh there's that thing I was looking for and
You know what's hilarious? Like I am notorious like my wife teases me. I'm really awful with like losing things all the time. And so I'll lose like it not losing. I don't tend to lose things, but I am definitely that guy who like I'll be like, where are my glasses? And they're on my head, that kind of thing,
yeah
you know? And but like then when my son loses something, I tend to be really good at helping him find it because I'll just kind of walk him through it and be like, okay, where was the last time you were at when you like had it? You know, like usually it's a toy, right? So I'll be like, when was the last time you were playing with it? He'll be like, I don't remember. And I'll be like, all right, well, think about it. Like, and then like walk him through the steps of like finding something that he misplaced. But it's hilarious that I can do that and yet still be awful at it myself. Like, I'm so bad at that.
For sure.
I have a bit of the absent-minded professor kind of thing going, like, except that I'm not creating flubber. I'm just like creating mediocre comics.
Which I still need to read. Jacob's Apartment, which it's not mediocre, but
You're like, speaking of mediocre books, I need to read some of yours. I like it though. Remember where I was joking that there should be like a pretentious stream? I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yes, I remember that.
I still think that would be hilarious. Where you have guests on, but you're just completely demeaning and rude like the entire time. But it's like, it would only be funny if it was kind of like Between Two Fernses, where the people who are being interviewed are in on it,
Yes.
But have like, to play like they're not.
Yeah, like the what's his name? Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
I was watching some of those clips, like the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And like where the actors are just like cracking up.
Oh yeah, they lose it. Well, and it's funny because you don't see Galifianakis break very often, even in those outtakes. So you can kind of see why they like lose their like being able to play the straight man in the role, because it's like Galifianakis will just do something, like say something so funny, and just he doesn't bat an eye, He's really good at a cold delivery. Did you ever watch his stand-up back in the day?
I know I must have, because I know I've seen him acting. So I think I've looked up like some of his stand-up. It's not ringing a bell, but I know he's he's hilarious.
Yeah, one of my favorite bits that he would do is he can play piano really well, right? And so like he just kind of would do like really kind of absurdist jokes, and they're like those kind of like comedians jokes, where it's like it's a joke with a clear punchline and very clever. So like no matter how you deliver it, it's going to be funny, right? But he would do those jokes while playing like a concerto on the piano. And then just kind of stop when there's a punchline and kind of look at it. Just his delivery was so like just deadpan and like it's hard to explain how he pulled it off, but that was one of his like bigger bits. And then my favorite bit is like a really obscure one that he wasn't really doing often, but it's he went on stage as like a old like founder of America, and he had like a big wig, like a scroll. And so he goes on stage, he's like dressed like an old like Victorian dude, right? And he like unrolls the scroll and is like, thank thee. Like, when people are clapping. And then he starts telling jokes that are all like outdated because they all rely on like before electricity was invented, and like it's just great. It's like all contextual jokes from like the era of like the founding fathers. It's very funny. It's a good bit.
Okay.
But yeah, you'd probably dig it. Anyhow, you are more knowledgeable, I think, of comedy stuff than I think I am.
I try.
Yeah, you do. I'm kidding. That was my condescending moment. No, you do. You're really like, you have a keen memory for like stand-up bits. Why did I just select the wrong thing? Arg. I have to select the inverse. Let's do that instead.
I've done that when I'm working on something and conversing, like I'm on the wrong layer, I'm on the wrong.
Oh yeah, happens all the time. It's funny. The only reason it doesn't happen more often is because it's happened so often.
Yes.
I think that's a trick that a lot of people don't like when they start drawing. You know, they'll look at people who can draw really well and be like, "Man, how did they do that?" And it's like you never really get better at drawing. I mean, you
You
kind of do,
Yeah.
but
You
you
get
just get
better at knowing your mistakes.
yeah, just avoiding mistakes. And the only way you kind of get there is by like making them. It's funny. I was thinking about that today because and I talked about see this is the one thing that's going to be a problem with me doing the vlogs now is like when I'm live streaming, it's usually going to be the same day. So whatever's on my mind on the vlog will probably be a little bit reiterated on the live stream, you know?
Yes.
So spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen the latest vlog, which I don't know how you would, because in fact, right now I'll put it up. Hang on. Let's see, because it finally finished uploading. That's the other
Oh,
thing that's tough about those is they take forever to upload.
yeah, I've been having that problem also with when I'm uploading, and I try not to upload long videos so it doesn't take that long. But even when I'm like a 3 minute, 5 minute video, like it takes like a couple of hours. And I'm like, man, I was like, and I'm getting my own notification, and I'm like, oh, I just uploaded a video. Okay, I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's like 3 days later where you're like, did I put up a video? Like, yeah.
I'm like, am I going live? Is someone hack my account? Oh, it's not.
You're like, oh, that finally went up. Like, that would be hilarious if you had that happen when you're like literally like a year older than when you started uploading it, you know? By the time it goes up, you're like, oh yeah, a year ago I pushed upload. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Or you could do like I don't know, it could be really funny if you had somebody uploading and then it's like, you know, 50
Well,
years later,
well,
they're like,
we can
you
we
know,
can do a scheduled video now. So I wonder how long far out in advance you can schedule it because that'll be something like.
are you thinking like that you're just gonna make videos that like live beyond you that just come out on like a weekly schedule, Frank? Is that what you're saying?
I have thought about that, just doing like a batch of videos, and then I'll just like,
You could just mess with people and be like, "Hey guys, I just wanted you to know I'm not really gone." And they're like, "What?" And
yeah,
it's like, "Yeah, I'm secretly like on a space station in outer space and it turns out all the flat earthers were correct." Like just start saying all sorts of nonsense and then like who's going to challenge you cuz you know, at that
well,
point.
I've thought of like, not like planned it out, but like after I pass on, and like, oh, Frank just passed away, like, oh, he just uploaded a video yesterday, and then like, and the next week, like, oh, he uploaded another video, like, what's going on?
Like a year from there you've retained like a really consistent upload schedule. People are like, "What the hell is going on?" Like
So he died. He's not answering my messages.
that's that's
And
dark
that
but
will be
funny.
when I get monetized and I get viral, and I won't be
Yeah.
able to benefit from it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would be the point where like one of us just blows up on YouTube would be like if we did that plan. It's like you're almost tempting fate that that would be the way it would work
Yeah,
with that. That's hilarious. I love that idea. I kind of
yeah,
like the idea of it really like screwing with people too, where they have no idea. Like, and you're just saying all sorts of like crazy things about like where you are and like what happened and all this crazy stuff, you know. And meanwhile, it's like you're restfully, you know, out of there. I don't know.
well,
It's
I'm
a
thinking
funny
like it would
premise.
be like outdated information. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm gonna start this comic. Push you to Captain Goggles and Mask Woman. It's already been out.
Yeah, that's true. Like if somebody had done that in the past and was trying to be all clever, they'd be like, "I'm just gonna fax this over to my client," and it's like nobody faxes. We don't believe you.
Uh,
You know.
Or
That's
like,
true.
this I'm reviewing this new movie that came out. Like that came out 5 years ago.
Yeah, you're like, man, the other day I went to the movie theater and saw, everything everywhere at once. And it's like at the future, people are just like, wait, it was a 2D movie that you watched? Like, we just walk into environments and movies play.
Or you're like, oh, did they make a sequel? Like,
That's the
oh,
one thing from like Back to the Future 2 that I wish had become a reality. Do you remember that like shark, like that 3D shark
oh
that like
yeah, yeah.
pops out of the. Why didn't we get that? Everybody talks about the flying cars, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know?
the Jaws like that. Yeah, because I mean that wasn't that. It didn't look like that complicated. Because people now do holograms,
Yeah, yeah.
so you can kind of do that, even if it was like a rudimentary one.
I mean, that might be really dangerous if you're driving and like a hologram jumps
What?
out of
Well, yeah, that's true.
out of the billboard.
Or like yeah, or someone like with heart problems walking by you and turn forward. Ah!
That's a fair point. Yeah, there's a little bit of liability.
So yeah,
That
so I
could be
can
the
see why
inciting
they
incident
like
for the
if they do a
promising
slasher
YouTube.
movie.
Yeah. That could be the inciting incident for the promising YouTube career. Like the guy's walking by one of those billboards, the shark jumps at him, passes away, all his videos upload.
Yeah.
Becomes a YouTube sensation. We're writing a story here, Frank. That's going to be my next slice of life story.
So, well, I'm gonna plan ahead and upload these videos, and you just life happens, you pass away, and like, well, there's all these videos that are just coming out on a regular schedule.
It could be like inverse Weekend at Bernie's, where it's like Weekend at Bernie's was like somebody passes away and people are like using him as like a puppet. I haven't seen that movie in years, but I can't believe that actually got made. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Well, I can't believe the sequel it got made.
But I mean, isn't the premise like it's just watching a corpse just be like brought around and like
Yeah,
it's so dark.
just propping a corpse around,
Yeah.
and in part two, it's a zombie corpse.
Oh, okay. I can't remember part two. I remember, man, there's a couple movies from that era that were like huge, and I have little doubt that they hold up. Like, I have a feeling if I watch that movie, it's probably not going to hold up and be as funny as it was. Have you
Haven't
watched it at all, like in a while, or?
recently, no, but I've been thinking about. Well, I thought about like I think a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, I should rewatch that movie, but.
Yeah, I want to rewatch
No.
like what were some other movies from that era? There was one called Mannequin, and then
Oh
Mannequin
yeah,
2.
I actually like those movies. I don't think they hold up.
I'm sure they don't. I mean, that was kind of like I
But
think even
they're
at the
kind of like
time those didn't
TV.
really hold up. They were just kind of
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, like they're funny. They're fun to kind of laugh at. The people thought, well, not yeah, like like not even no one thought like, oh, this could happen, but like, um, well, it was just funny to look at. I think part two was with Christy Swanson.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, it's been so
Yeah,
long.
and I saw that. Actually, I think I did see that one recently.
Oh, no
Okay.
way.
And
Were you just kind of like, what is this?
well, I was just like, I was saying, I was watching clips, and because I do like the song from Mannequin. Like, I remember I'm gonna watch it, and like, it doesn't hold up. I mean, I still think it's funny, but like,
Yeah.
even when I watched it, because in part two, the mannequin effects. Sometimes it's just Christy Swanson just standing still. She doesn't even turn into a mannequin. It's just she's just standing still. And at least in part one, she does turn into a mannequin, and people are like looking at it and moving around. But like in part two, is like I guess they couldn't afford that.
They were just like, pause.
Yeah, and then, it's her. It is like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right.
That's awesome. We should make Mannequin 3. It sounds like a pretty low production budget.
Yeah, he just like stands there like, oh, this mannequin. Where did that guy go?
That's so funny. I love the fact that I can bring up Mannequin and you're like, "Oh yeah." um there's a what was the there was also like remember the Short Circuit movies?
Oh,
It'd be
I
fun
love
to
stuff.
rewatch those. I haven't
Yeah,
watched those in years either.
yeah, those I do watch a little bit more often because I really like Johnny Five and robots in general. So sentient robots, I thought I really like. Uh, I think for the most part it holds up. Like the effects sometimes like well because they used a real robot, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's at least it's practical effects, I think,
Yeah,
for
so
most of it. I
the
think there
practical
might be some
effects.
bad kind of blue screening when he's like kind of rolling throughout some locations, but I think most of
Yeah,
it's like practical effects. Yeah.
yeah. I think in the second one he's like with a parachute, so that's probably like green screen or blue screen.
Or it's
The
like Johnny Five is real and, it's a documentary. There's that too.
Yeah. What did get me even back then when I saw it, like, well, this doesn't the ending doesn't make sense
You got to
because
run through the premise
the
because it's been
whole
a
thing was that he became alive, and if you disassemble him, it's you're killing him. So,
oh
but he can
crazy.
slowly like replace his an arm or something. It's like okay. At the end of part two, he is now gold. So they either took him apart and dipped everything in gold, or dipped him in gold. But like,
But like thinking about like a sentient being dipped in like hot melted gold. That sounds kind of
yeah,
cool.
and he like, if, okay, well, if you're just gonna take off his parts, well, aren't you like killing him slowly then? If you're just like disassembling him and then
So they
dipping in
kind of
gold,
undid their whole premise.
yes, that's I liked it. I still like it, but like it's up to them. Like, wait, how did? Why is he now gold? Like, how did that happen? It's just now he's just gold for some reason.
Dude, walk me through it. So like, um, I mean, if you're down, I kind of want to remember the plot because it's been a long time. I don't even remember the first movie, like what the premise is. So it's Johnny Five is like is it like Pinocchio but Johnny Five, like, or what is it like? What's
Yeah,
the
yeah. It's kind of like Pinocchio. Even in part two, that's where he's kind of more um like having like an existential crisis because he goes into this bookstore and he picks up the book Pinocchio and also Frankenstein. So he's kind of like relating to that, like one being like this machine that was kind of put together, and one Pinocchio where like he wants to be real or he is real, but everyone sees him as this thing. And that was a little bit more heart wrenching because it does go into like, no, I'm real, and there's a scene where like he is like literally dying because he's losing uh oil and battery fuel, so it's like he's bleeding out to death. So that's why
oh
at
my
the
gosh,
end
that's
I'm like,
heavy,
well, now
man.
he's cold. They're like, well, how did that happen? Like he was dying because he didn't have enough.
Did they pull like a Transformers and have him turn like blue as he was dying, or they didn't go that far?
No, no.
I'm still traumatized from that stupid Transformers movie. I'm talking about the cartoon, guys. The other Transformers films do not exist. Anyhow, just mentioning that for anybody who might be
Yeah,
watching after the fact.
that movie. I did see that movie recently too, but like, yeah, I was
Oh,
watching,
you
but just
rewatched the cartoon?
oh yeah, I love the cartoon.
Nice. Does it hold up? I'd imagine it does, honestly.
Yeah, for the most part, some of the animations are a little like wonky at parts, and like all the Transformers die.
That was such a dark movie because I think I saw that in a theater, and I think it was like one of the first movies that I just cried in. I was like so upset because it's the Optimus Prime, and they just
Yeah, yeah.
freaking killed him. Like
Well, it's
they're
like that
like,
with the
deal with
G.I.
it,
Joe movie
kids.
too. Like all my favorite Joes are killed in war. In battle. I
And
was
then it
like,
ends with just like war is tough, kids, and you're like,
yeah,
wait a minute, no, what about like the whole knowing is half the battle stuff?
they didn't know. How
Oh
about
man,
you? Johnny Five was part two. I like them both, but part two is more like uh, he's more like people are a little bit more open to like they're not trying to kill him like in the first one because like they think he's just a robot that malfunctioned.
okay, and why are oh the first one? The thing is, they think he's a malfunctioning robot, and he has to
Yeah.
kind of escape the people who are trying to kill him.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
so that's good. That was kind of like the start of it, and then the second one, he just goes around and he's like goes to the stores and he's like visiting and he's like talking and making friends and people like kind of freak out at first, but then they get used to it. And one of the guys that he meets and befriends like betrays him and uses him because he has like this really powerful drill. So they're actually trying to rob a bank. So
Oh,
they're like
crazy.
drill on the other to the other side of the building so they can get to the vault. Uh, and they're using him, like they're tricking him, and so that's the guy that kind of like goes after Johnny Five and tries to like I guess kill him, and so that's when there's like he's like fighting for his life, and then like he has this like he kind of flips a little bit,
Oh,
like he
crazy.
uses when he realized like wait like he wanted to kill me for this and like and he repairs himself in a Radio Shack, which is now outdated because there's no Radio Shacks.
Yeah, it's so weird to think there is no Radio Shack. That's
Yeah.
really trippy. That's funny. Like that's where I got my first microphone ever when I had to do like live gigs and stuff, and it was awful. It was a horrible microphone, but still, it was cheap and it was at Radio Shack.
Yeah, you could get everything at Radio Shack. I
Or
remember
like you needed
looking
any
for
audio adapter, boom, there.
yeah, yeah,
But it's weird because it's like I do feel like a lot of that is way more convenient now in the age of the internet. Because I do also remember going to Radio Shack and you'd be like looking for like extend like some piece that'll like extend a cord or adapt a cord, and they'd be like out of stock. And then you'd be like crap,
yeah.
so you'd have to like drive around to different Radio Shacks and stuff. It is kind of nice that now you can kind of just look it up online and have it delivered next day. you know?
Like, oh, it's on Amazon for this much, and oh, I can get Prime.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so pampered nowadays. It's crazy. With
Yeah,
just like the speed and variety of things we can get a hold of with just super ease.
oh, for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy. Dude, there was another. Do you remember? Okay, there's another one that I forget the plot of too that I used to watch as a kid with robots. It was like batteries not included.
Oh yeah, that one.
I can't remember what the plot of that was either.
That was little spaceship robots that so they visit like this old guy and his wife and just people in that apartment building. And like, oh, there's aliens, or then it's like these little tiny ships, but the ships are the aliens, and they start helping out, and like the old guy and his wife open up a restaurant, or they reopen up a restaurant, and like the robots are helping out, and like, but there's these people that are trying to tear down the building, so they're trying to like sabotage and get people to leave. Uh, so the little robots kind of help out a little bit. So yeah, it was an interesting movie. I liked it. Um,
Yeah, like it'd be fun to revisit some of those movies, you know, because it's
yeah.
like I haven't really revisited a lot of them. Even like, dude, it's been forever since I saw like the last Starfighter,
Remember who was? Oh, it's been a while since I've seen Last Starfighter. Yeah.
but it's like such a funny, awesome premise for a movie, and I kind of like the so. Like one of the things I think is great about like Scott's like Young and the Dead, right? Is it feels like an 80s movie. Not in a bad way. It's like it's really
Yeah.
fun and it kind of just jumps into the adventure. And I think that's what I liked about well not I mean, I think his is probably a little better. I don't know. But anyhow, point is what I liked about Last Starfighter is it's like it's not bothering there's this unique thing to like 80s movies where a lot of them didn't even bother to like try to do like this crazy compelling storyline. It's like, no, you're in an arcade. An old man's gonna approach you and tell you you like you've been secretly testing. It's actually not a bad plot, actually, now that I think
Yeah.
about it. It's kind of just almost like Ender's Game, but in an arcade, you know? But yeah, that was a pretty good anyhow, I can't I really do want to watch some of those movies I used to watch religiously as a kid, you
Yeah.
know. Even like the Weekend at Bernie's thing, I used to rent. I think are there 3 of them or just 2?
I, if there's a third one, then it was like direct to video. But I think there was only two, at least only two that I
Yeah, I
saw.
think there's only 2, but I remember I used to rent them together and kind of binge watch those. Not always, but you know, that was one of those ones, you know, kind of like that I'd get at like the video store for like
Mm-hmm.
get 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's trippy to think of those films. Have you
Yeah.
ever thought about doing a full out robot story? I mean, you did do a robot story with Corey Kerr.
What kind of? Yeah, it's like a like he's in a mech suit. Yeah,
Yeah.
like just doing just a full on robot. Like that'll be good. That'll be interesting. Um, I'm surprised what I haven't done. Well, there's robots and Captain Goggles and Mask Woman, but they're not like you're not really focused on them. At least I'm the one that's there. It's the robot Ankylosaurus.
Yeah, that is true. There is like a robot kind of dinosaur.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so there is kind of a main robot. Fair point. Um I think it would be fun to write like I think one of the things I love about like those I don't know, there's something fun about like a big clunky ridiculous robot. I think that's why I was like saying you should do a Dalek, you know, because they're just such a funny design, you know. I don't know.
Yeah. Even when they were created, it was just like, okay, here's a plunger and here's a whisk.
Yeah,
make make them look dangerous.
I don't know. There's something fun about like I think if I ever do a sci-fi or something, there is something really cool about kind of having like these absurd premises and then going super serious with it.
Mhm.
Um, so that you can actually make that plunger terrifying. I think there's something awesome about that, you know? I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it would be fun to have a story like I really like that about Bone, the comic Bone by
Oh
Jeff
yeah.
Smith.
Yes.
I think it does a really good job of like it's very cartoony. You know, even the villains aren't like it's all kind of existing in a cartoon world. with like very stylized things. And on its face, it looks like a really lighthearted, like, I don't know, like Walt Kelly comic or something. But then you read it and it's like, it's this heavy, just, I mean, it is lighthearted and fun, but it's also got like these really heavy, just dramatic moments.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have to like force it with like his style. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of fun.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's a cool way to do it, is all I'm saying. So how long have I been streaming now? Let's see. Okay, I knew it. My internal clock is like, it's almost an hour. So
Yeah.
I can either put on a trailer, or if you want to mention your stuff, I can have you do that while I take off. So for a minute, you let me know what you'd prefer.
Sure, I can talk about my wares.
All right, guys. Frank is going to hustle his wares. Stay tuned and listen to Frank. I'll be right back in about like a minute.
All right. Well, this is Salazar of Salazar Art Nation, and you can find me on my channel, Salazar Art Nation, and I have a link, the link tree Taraco Comics. You can find my Etsy shop. I have 2 copies of my comic left, and I have them in a special bundles. So for I think like the $40 bundle, you get a bunch. You get the comic, and you get a bunch of cards and some illustrations and some sketches. So I think that's the best one. For the $25 bundle, you get pretty much the same thing, just like less cards. But yeah, and I also have sketch cards and stuff you can check out and support me as an indie creator, as an artist. So I don't
As a
start.
handsome artist, you guys, as a handsome artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about the important. Oh, were you still pitching? Because you can
No,
continue if you want.
no,
So
that.
I was thinking about the importance of play today for artists, for creatives,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a weird topic to kind of bring up because I don't know if it's every artist's problem. I think maybe some artists might have like the inverse, where they like maybe play too much and they need to like come up with like a structure, you know?
Okay, yeah.
But for people who have like a solid work habit like built, it's like it's weird. It's like today, I don't know why I was thinking about it, because I don't know if I've talked about it a lot, but it's like, you know, when you're kind of like, even in-house, like working at a place and you're coming up with like, say, like a logo idea or something like that. It's really important to have these like kind of blue sky moments where you can kind of like change gears and follow inspiration. And it's like, it leads to like these really cool results. And it's kind of like this odd blend of like a lot of structure, but then like freedom to play. And it's kind of a weird,
Okay.
they're almost like fighting forces. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that
Yes.
make any sense?
Yeah, because I think Christopher Runciman does that very well.
Yeah, I think Christopher's definitely really good at that because he's very self-disciplined. He gets a lot of work done. He doesn't have a problem getting to the drawing table, but he'll allow himself to like play with material, play with the process to kind of get a better result.
Yes.
And I don't know, I was just thinking about that today, because I definitely had a moment where there were kind of these concepts that we had planned out for a really long time, and then some very last minute just thoughts like made them like level up from like a small kind of okay concept to like this really strong concept. And it's like, that wouldn't happen if we didn't play, like, or if we shut down like the process of being like, well, what about this, or what if this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. It's like that's like really fundamental. I mean, it's not like this is profound or anything, but it's like it's fundamental to writing too, right? Because writing, it's like you first kind of, at least for me, I need like a solid structure worked out, right? I need to kind of know, like, am I doing a hero's journey? You know, what's my beginning, middle, and end, right? I like to
Yeah.
have that structure, but like in the process of writing, you're kind of like, and editing, especially when like stories get really good, it's like that's the process is like, well, here there's this, but what if this? Like there's it's kind of like being your own writer's room, you know? And I think like I don't know, I just was realizing that I think that's a really important thing to prioritize for artists, you know, is like playing a little bit. Not for all artists, right? Some artists might be doing too much of the playing. You know,
Yeah.
need to just sit down and do the work, but it's like but for those of us who are like kind of in a good workflow and stuff, I think it's easy to kind of get lost in it and like forget to play, you know. Yeah, anyhow. That was just something I was thinking about.
The importance of play.
Yeah, so I did a vlog about that, but now you don't have to watch it.
Okay. I was gonna say that should be a vlog. A vlog. Like I said.
Yeah, because I just was like, I don't know, like I've found that like in the last, I mentioned on the thing I posted yesterday or whatever that I've been having this like weird, just like awesomeness happening in the last 3 months, and not awesomeness like circumstance wise. Like I'm not having a bunch of bad circumstances or anything, but there's nothing like notably like different about like, you know, my circumstances. It's just like there's something that's like unlocked recently where I don't know what it is. It's like I just have been kind of like not
But
making
yeah,
excuses, just kind of going forward and making stuff and
yeah,
enjoying it as opposed to like dreading it or hating it. It's been really weird.
yeah.
I guess maybe for a lot of people that's not weird.
Well, it depends on what you're going through and the person.
Yeah.
Everyone can um, relate to something a little bit different. I was watching. I've been like listening to a lot of podcasts and there's a quantum leap uh, podcast that I'll watch after the show is on. So
Wait, is there a new Quantum Leap?
yes, yes, there's a new quantum leap.
Oh my
It's
gosh. I
it's
feel like
almost
such a
like
boomer. I have no idea what's running anymore.
yeah, it's almost at towards like the end of first season, but they're gonna have a second season.
Oh,
Um,
crazy. Is it on like a streaming service or like on just regular TV or like what?
it's on both. It's on Peacock and also on NBC. So it'll air on NBC and then Peacock. So it's kind of like a regular show. You like when the episodes come out, it's like a regular show. It's each week, and there's like a sometimes there's like a hiatus. So I think they're on episode no fifth, 14 or 15, and I think there's like a couple more, and then it goes to their break, and then season two.
Crazy. That's
But
because
there were
Quantum Leap was always fun because of the time travel element. I think
yeah,
that would
and
be a really
some
cool
some
thing.
of it's kind of like yeah, like I love Quantum Leap. So that's why like I want to check out this new one, and they changed some things, and it's a little different. Sam Beckett's not there, but maybe in season two he might make an appearance. But about one of the guys was talking about um,
Wait, real quick. Is the podcast the cast of the show or is it like people commenting
it's
on the show?
fans. Well, it's fans of the show that were doing. rewatches, and I watch two different podcasts that do the same thing. One is called the Quantum Leap Podcast, and the other one is Fate's White Wheel, and that's the one I was watching today. But they'll have the cast members on there,
Oh,
and they'll
nice.
have people from the show, like that worked on the show, the
Yeah.
showrunner. So the one I was watching today, they had the showrunner, and then he brought on like one of the actresses, and then like an assistant writer. So they were giving just a lot of input and insight towards this latest episode. But what one of the hosts, it's two guys, was talking about how, like it's interesting how you're able to do this, and that's I think it's talking about like the writing, and like for me, like there's something that I'm struggling with, but someone else can see the same thing and like, oh, that's nothing to them. It's just like the way people kind of like handle different things. So they're just talking about like just like the process and stuff like that, but just like
Yeah.
how you can like, oh, for me, I love drawing characters, but backgrounds are a pain. And someone was like, man, I love backgrounds, but
Who's that? Maybe that's David Chelsea. David
oh,
Chelsea is really good at backgrounds, but even David, I think, talked about like, I think I might be misremembering this, and if David ever watches the stream, I doubt he does, but if David's watching this and I get this wrong, correct me, David. But I think he was saying that he didn't like drawing backgrounds either, and then he just got really good at it because it was like this thing that like he hated. And so it's like as an artist, it's like you kind of, it's almost like you lean into those, or just like, man, I suck at this, and then you become like the guy who writes the book on perspective, because you're just like, oh, I hate this, and then like you figure it out.
And then having like backgrounds might be easier for someone built because they've been working on it, but other things are just harder to grasp. Like,
nice. Vic Do said, "What's up? I'm Frank's friend in the chat.
hey,
How's it going, Vic?"
cool. I didn't know he was up.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So the quantum leap thing, I cut you off, I think. Or was that?
Well, that's what I was getting at. Like just how the conversation about I forget what it was specifically, but it was like a more of the process of the show and the writing, and so that guy just kind of made like an observation, like, yeah, like for me this is something I would struggle with, but for someone else it would be like, oh, that's nothing. I do that all the time. So
yeah, that is funny. Like that's one of the fun things about like there's benefits. Like it's funny. I feel like I live like two lives artistically, right? Because I have like the Vic said just came over from Phil stream. Oh no, was Phil streaming the same time? Did I cross streams with Phil?
but he was streaming a little earlier. I think it just finished though.
Okay, well, if
Because
Philip's
I was
watching
there
this after the fact,
I was there in the chats for the first few minutes, and then like, okay, I gotta actually focus on these drawings. So I switched. I turned off the stream and went to Tubi and just listened to. Well, actually, I was watching Nightman, the old uh, show, and I was just listening to it and drawing.
okay, you have to explain Nightman. I feel like
All right,
I'm familiar, but like, sorry, Frank, I'm having you like fill me in on
so
all
Vic
pop cultural knowledge.
is a fan of the comic Nightman and Malibu comics, so he knows a lot about it. But they had made a Nightman TV show late '90s, early thousands, and like it does not hold up. Talking about things, the effects don't hold up, some of the dialogue doesn't hold up.
Is it kind of fun though because of that?
But
Like,
I liked it, and because back then that's what we had. We didn't
yeah,
have Iron Man and the effects now, and or even good Captain America. So like, oh, that's good. It's a TV show about a superhero, and it was on late at night, so I would watch it.
Yeah, like okay, so a lot of people don't understand that there was like a period that was like a total superhero drought,
Yeah,
like where like we had a couple things. We had like the X-Men cartoon, right?
yeah,
We had there was this brief period where they had a TV show for Generation X that lasted for like maybe 2 episodes.
yeah, yeah.
Um there were a couple other things. There was Darkwing Duck, right, which was kind
Hmm.
of superhero related. But for people who were like total comic nerds, like it wasn't like it is. I'm just saying this for anybody who's like younger. It wasn't like it is today, where you have like 50 Marvel movies every month,
Yeah,
and like 5 TV shows and stuff like
yes.
that. It's kind of weird to think back
And
to
all
the
the
era where
obscure
it wasn't.
characters are there or show up,
Yeah,
and like back then, it's like you could only get some of the obscure characters because some of the bigger ones were harder to get.
yeah.
Like,
And then we had the Superman movies,
yeah.
which we just watch on repeat. I'm guessing like most of us did because
Oh
it was like one of the few superhero movies. You had this weird Captain America with JD Salinger's son.
yeah. Yeah.
Did you know about that?
I saw I saw one of them, and I know there was another one where he was like, and I don't know it was JD Salinger's son, but where
That's the weirdest thing to me.
a
Like,
guy.
so it's the JD Salinger, like Catcher in the Rye guy. Like his
Okay.
kid is in the 1980s. Like
Was
he
that the
is.
one where he was riding a motorcycle and he had the helmet, or was
Yes.
that the okay? Yeah, that's the one I never saw, but I saw clips and like, oh, when this looks cheesy even for me, but like I want to see it.
It's like weird because it's like like I don't even know if I've seen that one actually, but it's like the costuming and stuff. Anyhow, even that like wasn't really aired very often. So if you're gonna get that movie, it's like gonna be a VHS. It's like
Yeah.
there was that other movie called Darkman. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember that. That was like a little later. We had like, but yeah. Anyhow, I just wanted to paint the picture for
Yeah,
people
like
so they know.
Dark Man. I used to watch that. So I have this memory, and like I know it's real. I know I watched it, but I can't find it. But it was a Dark Man movie, but it wasn't the one with Liam Neeson. So I think they tried to do a pilot, and it didn't really take off. But they made a movie, but I can't find the pilot. But like it was a because I think it was like gonna be a TV show or something. It was like a TV movie, but I think it was done pretty well. So it shows Dark Man like in a fire, like, and so like he gets like part of his face burnt, and like he saves this woman, and he kind of goes. Also, it didn't have the, oh, I'm a scientist and like I made this artificial skin. Uh, like he lost his family, so it's kind of like like the Punisher, where he loses his family, and but except he's like scarred, and I think maybe like the wife I remember someone survived, but I was like, man, this looks interesting, and then like, oh, I want to watch it again, and it wasn't on again, and like, oh, Darkman is on, and it's like, this is not the Darkman I know,
Yeah.
and I can't find it, like I can't, so like, I guess I don't know what happened, but like,
All
so
right,
we're
guys.
gonna say
If you're
Darkman.
watching and you know this dark man that Frank is talking about, alleviate this man's stress and help him find it. Tell Frank where
And
what
I've
it
seen
is.
all the Darkman movies, the ones with Liam Neeson and the other two, and I like them, but I know there's another one.
It's out there. I've had that happen though with things where you like have this vague memory and it's always such a good experience when you actually find it, because you're like, holy crap, it did exist. I have this weird memory from when I was a kid of this like trip that I had taken to like Oregon, to like the Oregon caves with like my family.
Hmm.
And we had like gone to the Oregon caves to Crater Lake. And then like on the way, and I used to have like dreams about this place afterwards. We stopped by this like creepy like amusement park thing, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna forget the name of it, but I ended up finally finding what the place was. Because I had this memory of like when I was a kid, there was like this, it was like this storybook themed thing, right? But it was kind of like like it wasn't like a theme park where like there's a bunch of people working there. It was almost abandoned, right?
Yeah.
And you go in there and you get to like go in like uh like the shoe that like the lady lives in, and you get to go in all these different fairy tales. And then
Okay.
there's a point where you go into like Alice in Wonderlands, but you go through this tunnel, and it was like this really claustrophobic, like long tunnel that got like thinner and thinner and thinner. And I used to have nightmares about it because I think as a kid it really freaked me out because I think I got like halfway and then was like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to be able to get out of here? Right. um, so what's funny is I finally found out what it was, and there's like YouTube videos of people, and it's this whole thing. Like there's this crazy old man in Oregon who like decided to just start making these giant concrete cast theme park buildings and stuff in his backyard because he had a bunch of property like in the woods. And so, and all his neighbors thought he was insane. And he was like, no, I'm just going to like kind of build these. And he started just making more and more of them. And then eventually, like, people started showing up and like, but it's all this one guy and his family that like, built this whole like weird theme park like out in the forest. I think it's called the Enchanted Forest.
Okay.
But anyhow, like it, before the internet, that just bugged me for years, and I'd ask people about it. I didn't know anybody at the time who lived in Oregon. It's not like I could just email somebody or like, chat with them online. So it was just this like mysterious thing until like probably like my mid to late teens where I finally found out what it was and was like, "Oh my gosh, like I wasn't crazy. There is a place." And it's funny, you can see YouTubers going through that tunnel and it's like, yeah, it was kind of like claustrophobic. Like I don't blame me as a little kid being kind of freaked out by that. And it is a little creepy. Like it's kind of awesome, and I'd totally go back there now if I could. But it was just like, sorry, that was a long-winded story, but it's just those things that you kind of that bug you for years, and you're just like, I know that existed.
Yeah. That's always.
Oh, Adam was saying, Josh, you must have mentioned your cave dreams because I had a dream you were in it and you had like a weird underground cave in your basement. That wasn't a dream, Adam.
That sounds great. That's the dream.
Yeah. Here, I'm just gonna lower this basket. Just put some lotion in it. No, I'm just
Well,
sorry.
maybe not that dream, but because I dream about Batman.
That's the worst joke. It's the most inappropriate joke, and yet, like, it's so specific to like anyone who's seen Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
So, yeah. Anyhow, yeah. There's no creepy tunnel in my basement. Nope, not me. So, how's it going, Frank?
Not bad.
Did that transition work enough to sound really awkward?
Just enough, yes.
Okay, cool. That was my intent.
Very good.
So, okay, you were going to talk about this TV show that was kind of like Darkman, and now I'm forgetting the name. And you
Yeah,
said it
well,
was
it
based on
was.
Valiant, a Valiant comic?
Oh, Nightman.
Oh, Nightman. Okay.
Yes. So it's a Malibu comic, and I think Marvel bought out Malibu, and Vic knows a lot about that one. But yeah, they did a TV show, and back then, like, I didn't know it was an actual character because it was kind of like obscure. So it's this guy that he's a jazz musician, and he's like really famous. Uh, and he gets into this accident, and after the accident, he can tune into the frequency of evil.
Oh,
So
I
he can
love it.
hear it's almost like he's psychic. It's kind of like
But
Dead
do they
Zone.
actually word it like that? Like he tunes into the
Yes,
frequency of evil?
that's how they.
That's
That's
great.
like the tagline
Oh my gosh. That sounds like straight like pulp, you
to
know?
tune into the frequency of evil, and like, and a doctor diagnoses, and his doctor like, I keep hearing like bad people's thoughts, and like, oh, it's like a radio. You're like tuning into the frequency, like, but it's only bad stuff. You're tuned into the frequency of evil, and you never see that doctor again. So he's in the intro to every episode. You only see him that one episode.
Oh, that's so funny. He just was there to
Uh,
say that line.
yeah, but I like that. That was cool. So he gets
I
this
love it.
suit.
That sounds really pulpy, like in a good way, you know?
Yeah. So he has this suit, and like most of his powers come from the suit. So it's just like kind of like Iron Man, but just like lower tech. Um, and the suit was like a prototype for for a cop uniform, but the guy that invents it, they steal it. He gets it back, and the the jazz player finds it, and they team up, and he ends up using it, so they team up, and so that's it's like his sidekick for a bit, and technician. But it's a dark suit with a cape, and he can fly, and has like this red uh, cyber eye lens thing, and so yeah, I mean, you see it, you know, it's outdated, it's cheesy, but you know, I enjoy it
That's
because
awesome.
that's what we had back then, and
I can understand
around
it though.
that
Like I
time,
like the original Magnum PI, and
oh yeah,
I don't think it's a great like I don't think it's an amazing show.
yeah,
It's kind of really corny, but I still enjoy it a lot. Like, you know, um
yeah,
and I know they tried to reboot that, but there's no way in hell I'm going to watch a reboot of that.
yeah. Like I keep getting ads for the new Magnum PI, and it doesn't look the same to me. Like,
Yeah,
and he doesn't have
and
a
I could be old
mustache.
and out of touch, and maybe it's great, but yeah, I
Oh, it
don't
might be
really.
the best thing ever, but he doesn't have a mustache. I was like, you're
There's
not.
no stash.
Nope.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you're
not.
not Magnum.
It's not Magnum.
Yeah.
It's like how I felt about the GI Joe movie when I saw the trailer for it in the theater.
Oh yeah. I saw it. I wanted to like it. I was like, oh, finally a live action J. Joe. I'm like, they all. I can't tell who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. They're all wearing black. I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
think I got as far as the trailer. I still have not watched that movie because I was just like, I just can't. I can't.
I did see it, but I was like, yeah, okay.
And I
They,
shouldn't hate on stuff like that. You know, to each their own kind of thing.
yeah.
But I definitely there's a couple things like if like okay, another thing that
Well, they mentioned
really
Cobra Commander.
really got to me was remaking Psycho.
Oh,
Like
okay, yeah.
why,
You
why,
did-
why? Anyhow, yeah. So that's my
yeah,
hot take
I
today.
remember
My
that
hot
was
take is that Hitchcock movies probably shouldn't be remade. Just crazy thought there. Throwing it
oh
out there.
no, I agree, and I mean, if you're gonna remake it, try to make it your own, I guess. Like it was like a shot for shot, and that's what I think that was the complaint that people were like, "Oh, you're gonna mess it up." Oh no, I'm gonna do it exactly, and then like, okay, it is exactly. So like, well, I'll just watch the first one.
Yeah.
Like I'll
I
just
liked
watch.
it better in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I can you imagine maybe they have done this. I wouldn't put it past them, whoever this suspicious them is. Um, but it's like have you ever heard of like somebody trying to like remake like North by Northwest or like one of the other classic like Hitchcock flicks? That'd be crazy. I'm
North
sorry. I'm
Carolina.
interrupting your story again too, I think. I feel like I interrupted about the the show. Although it sounds like you were just kind of explaining why you dig it, the TV show.
Yeah, well, that, and I was gonna get into it because that inspired one of my characters. At least the early origin I had for it. So I had this character. It's a Canadian character, and back then I called him Mr. Canada.
Oh,
And
nice.
later I changed it to Crimson Samaritan.
Crimson
Uh,
Samaritan.
yes, because there was a captain, a Mr. Canada. That's their equivalent of Mr. Universe. It's a bodybuilding competition.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, well, I'll change it. Uh, and I
Is
was
there a
like,
Doctor Canada?
well, he is a doctor. He's a scientist.
Oh, nice.
So his uniform, and it's just like it just looks like a regular superhero uniform costume, but in my like his origin story, it's tech based uniform. It's like a power suit that he made, so he's able to fly, and I got that from Nightman because all it has this belt, anti-gravity belt, so like all his powers come from the suit. And then later, I changed it around, like but that originally, like I had like a lot of stuff that I was inspired by from Nightman, and
Nice.
I've kind of I'm revamping it, so it's got a different suit, but I might keep some. I might make like a reference that like, oh, this the old suit was like this and outdated, and so you got a new suit, but
Hmm. I think I like the tuning to the frequency of evil line because it kind of reminds me of like old Philip Chandler stuff.
oh
Like
yeah,
I had about a year and a half of my life where I was like listening to like Philip Chandler radio programs where it would start and it'd be like crime is a sucker's road
oh
and you know
yeah.
only ends in three places: the prison, the gutter, the grave. And it's like that kind of like tuning into the frequency of evil. It just sounds like something that would be on an old timey like radio show like The Shadow or something. I love that. If I did a superhero story, I think I would go that route. I would go like, you know, real old school, like old timey, you know, superhero story. Because
Yeah.
it's like I love that era, just that whole radio drama era. I always thought it would be fun to make one, you know.
I attempted something like that because I had someone suggested I do a character, and then they threw out a name and threw out in the Spanish version because since I have Captain Courage, and they're like, oh, you should do a captain in like a city that they're from, and like, well, I mean, no one's gonna know that, and like, um, but he told me like a name in Spanish. Oh, that's that. I like that. That's cool. So I was thinking, how can I do it? Because if it's tied to the city, so I kind of like I drew the character like the Spirit or Green Hornet, so it's like a similar outfit as the Green Hornet.
Nice. Does he have a domino mask?
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much
Nice.
that. I wasn't even trying to do the Green Hornet. I was trying to like do a take on the Spirit where he's a cop. And like I'll make the suit green, and then it was like someone later, like, oh, it's a Green Hornet. Like, oh yeah, you're right. Oh well, who cares? so, uh, so I did a time lapse drawing, and my voiceover, instead of just saying, "Oh, this is the character I'm doing," I just did it as it was a radio drama, and I put in some sound effects.
I love that.
And I planned on if it people liked it, like, oh, I'll do more character designs, more time lapse of it, but I'll narrate as if it's a radio drama and just continue story there. Um, but you know, still early on, so no one really watched it. And I was like, man, I should go back but it might be just be out of place now because like it's just like all of a sudden I'm just doing old radio drama.
It's like Frank just switches gears 180 and like
Yeah,
you're like Captain Goggles is now a radio drama. That would be amazing though. I would love a
yeah. Like,
Captain
well,
Goggles
that
radio
would be
drama.
something like because
But you'd have to have like
do
old timey voices in it too. Like, you know, what was that called in like old black and white movies when you guys will probably know this, but it's like there was an affected voice or accent that was like Cary Grant spoke in that kind of accent.
Oh
Where
yeah.
it's like I can't remember what the term is, but it's like modern English or something. It can't be called modern English. That would be too funny. But it's like this weird, you know, like Catherine Hepburn, like, hello there, oh chaps, you know, that kind of thing. But it's
Yes.
like weird because it's not quite British, it's not quite American. It's just like, well, you don't believe anything I'm saying, that kind of thing. And you're like, oh my goodness, like the just the voice. It's I think if you do a radio drama and you were able to kind of retain the old timey voice, that would be the sale of it, I think. And even old timey dialogue would be necessary, you know, like
Oh,
I, I'm rambling here, but it's like I'm just thinking out loud. Like it would be fun to have that with like old turns of phrase and all sorts of, you know, clever, witty stuff. But it's old, clever, witty, you know. I don't know. It'd be fun to do. Eastern Atlantic, Philip said.
Mr.
Philip,
Mr.
you're here. Okay, I wanted to apologize for crossing streams. I had no idea and I felt really bad. And then a couple people came in from the stream that you were doing and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Philip was doing a stream." I feel bad. I know you started earlier than me, but I still try not to cross streams when I can't. When I can. So, apologies to Phil. Or transatlantic maybe. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Anyhow, yeah, but I
Yeah.
like that era. There's something about that accent. You know, it's like on the old newsreels and stuff too, right?
Yes. Today on the
Yeah. The boys in blue are storming across the front. Like that kind of thing, you know. I love it. Yeah,
Bang
that
for
would be
the
fun.
Brow. Yeah.
But also it would be really hard to mix that kind of thing because you'd have to find like old organ music and stuff. So you can have like organs play really dramatically when I don't know, or have Adam Lore like rock the soundtrack. Because I think Adam Lore could probably rock an organ. He plays keyboard. Adam, can you play old
Yes.
timey organ? I mean, that's a pretty common synth sound too, is like being able
Yeah,
to
I mean,
emulate like an old
it's
Hammond.
already like a built-in effect.
Yeah. That would be fun to do live and have Adam like playing the. I like how I'm sure everybody is really appreciating me volunteering them for this crazy idea. But it'd be funny. We have like a script, we read it live. We have like Adam doing the doo like music. It could be really intense and fun. That's all I'm saying. Just throwing that out there.
Hmm.
Oh, Philip just said he used to play the organ. So maybe Philip could rock that business.
Oh, cool. He's out of practice.
Well, I mean, like thinking about like those old timey things, it's like I don't think they did like really crazy sophisticated organ playing. I think a lot of it was just like atmospheric, just like do
Yeah.
you know, and then maybe it'd be like a little a little ditty or whatever. But I don't know. Usually about somebody like Jack and Diane. Sorry. How's it going, Frank?
Good. You lost me at Jack and Diane, so I thought you were talking about Sam and Diane from
It's
Cheers.
that awful song, the little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Oh, I don't think I've heard it.
It's a horrible song. It literally has a line that says "sucking on chili dogs down by the tasty freeze."
Oh, okay.
and I have no idea. I think that who is that? Like John Mellencamp, I think, or something. It's like it's a musician that haunts my soul because they're not something I like. But that song,
John Cougar.
oh yeah. But
John
it's so weird because it's like one of those radio staple songs that was like played a bunch, but it's just a weird line when it's saying like 'cause it's supposed to be about like this, I think like a young romance or something, but then it just throws in the line like they're sucking on chili dogs down by the Tasty Freeze, and I'm like, why would you say that? Like, why wouldn't you say eating chili dogs? Because that's a weird. It sounds like you're not just talking about Jack and Diane. You know what I mean? So it's like there's some other activity going on down by the Tasty Freeze. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Life goes on. That's the song, I think. And then, oh, nice. There we go. Yeah, Adam was saying his album Hypersonic Moon Quest has a couple transatlantic newsreel type voice stuff, retro future stuff. I love that stuff. And Adam was saying he does a bit of those. That's awesome. What is this? Oh, Vic was saying he has a transatlantic accent. That's interesting. I think he said I didn't see Adams talking about mine. Nice. Also, Philip said, no worries, it was casual tonight. No, Philip. Total worries. It was unforgivable.
All the worries.
Yeah, we need to start, like, kind of like the disagreement arc I was doing with Gary. We need to start that, Philip. Where, like, you can be like, I'm live streaming now. Hopefully Josh understands that. Like at the beginning of your live streams, you could be like, just in case Josh is doing it too. God. And I'll just be like, man, I really hope Philip isn't streaming now. We could be like weird high schoolers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Frank? Should we start some cross-stream drama?
I think yes. I mean, okay. I don't do cause drama, but like I've done a stream when Christopher Runciman is doing one, so I try not to do it when around his time. But,
nice. Did you guys start a beef for that? Like, did it end up in like a big hip hop battle where you guys had to like throw down a beat and really just school each other? I would love to see that. I would love to see you and Christopher Runciman in a hip hop battle.
he might win, though, because I'm not that big on hip hop.
I don't know, man. I feel like you could lay down some rhymes. That's all I'm saying, Frank.
You can bust a rhyme. It's tricky, rock a rhyme all the time. It's tricky. No.
Did you guys hear that? That was pure Bustin' Rhymes right there. The Busta Rhymes name was originally Frank Salazar's, and then it got stolen from him by the now Busta Rhymes. But those of us deep in the know with our cool hip hop knowledge, we know about. Wait, Frank, if you were like an MC in the era of like MC Hammer, what would your hip hop name have been? I'm totally rambling right now, but I don't know. That's
I hadn't even thought about it. I remember when all that era was rampant. Let's see.
Yes. It started. Damn you, Josh. Philip said that, and I just pictured the end of Planet of the Apes, but it's Philip ending his stream. God damn you, Philip! Like that kind of thing. It's just this whole thing. Yeah, I think that would be funny. Anyhow, sorry. Continue. Sorry about that, Frank.
No, I'm trying to think of like what will be my MC name. DJ Well, back then I didn't wear goggles.
Yeah, like a goggles. You guys in the chats too, if you think of
I was gonna
Frank
say,
Hip Hop.
like, if anyone wants to come up with a hip hop name for me.
Yeah, we need to outsource this. We need a hip hop name for Frank. I feel like Tarako. Tarako Rock?
Oh, well,
Huh? I don't
yeah,
know.
Rocco.
Because it's
And
hard to rock.
Rock is the name of the Toronto mascot they have.
Nice.
ROC.
It is hard to rock on time. To rock on time. It's tricky.
It's tricky.
To Rocco on. Oh man, I'm stretching. You guys, I'm here all night. This is very entertaining. Wildly unique humor occurring here. Frank, you're fun to hang out with though. Like I enjoy like chatting with you while I'm doing art because it's like I can kind of get loopy and sleepy and make stupid jokes and you're down. Like your game to go with me there and I appreciate that.
To rock a good joke.
You do. And it's hard to rock a joke. It's tricky. To rock a joke. Oh my gosh. You guys, like, if you're in the chats, you have to let us know also how much we're killing it on our jokes right now. Would you say we're geniuses or would you say that we're amazing? That's what I would be curious about. Is it A, genius? Is it B, life changing? Or is it C, awesome? Yeah. Yeah, C, all of the above. That was the answer. Trick question, guys. It was a trick question. Okay. Frank is good with MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice. That is true.
Well, we're friends.
I feel. Have we had a conversation about Vanilla Ice? Whatever happened to him? I heard something from someone. I think this might have been at work. I don't think this was on stream. Saying that Ice had like a comeback kind of attempt.
Yeah, he was actually more
like a TV show or something.
Well, he's done tours, because he's actually been here. Well, not here in my area, but like in the beach here, like 2 or 3 hours away.
Oh, is he? He's a Texan.
Well, he's done tours.
Like, okay.
So he's been here.
That's see, for my half sleepy art brain right now, you were like, he's been in Texas on tour, and I'm like, oh, he lives in Texas. Like I've never heard of a tour. It's like, man, the other day I went to see like REM in concert or something, and I'm like, whoa, they live in Texas. Sorry, continue, Frank.
And he did have a Bar S commercial where he did the Sir Mix-a-Lot song, "Baby Got Back," but he did it as about hot dogs. So okay. And it is hilarious. I found it a couple of years ago. Like it was on Instagram as an ad. Like, what's this? And I clicked on it and I found the video. So
Ice himself.
Yeah. So let me see what the Vanilla Ice.
I have to know if this must have happened at the peak of his career. He must have made ice cream, right? There has to have been vanilla ice cream bars. There had to have been. It's just like, because I don't know if people realize the extent to which that guy was a star. Like it's like a different level. Like celebrity back then was like different than it even is now.
Oh yeah, well he had a movie.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to explain because like I think people can kind of get it, like it's like an e-celeb or something like that, but it's like no, like back then, like if you were the song or whatever, you're on every station, you're in every commercial, and like there's only like 4 networks or whatever. Well, there's more than 4. I'm exaggerating. And also we had to walk to school every day in the snow. I'm just saying.
I'm not seeing the ice cream. I'm seeing ice cream, but not vanilla ice. But
I can't
yeah,
believe they never
the
made
song he
vanilla
did
ice
was
cream.
"Baby Got Buns," so it's about eating hot dogs. Paris hot dogs.
It's about sucking on chili dogs down by the tasty freeze.
Yeah.
Does anybody understand how that lyric came about? Like, anyhow, Philip said, "I'm fading out here. I'm out for tonight." That's awesome, Philip. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I'll have to watch your stream after I'm done streaming here. Speaking of, we're at like 1:45, and I
Okay.
am finding myself fading a little bit, but I have to finish this page, or at least get as close as I can to finishing the page. So what I'm going to do now is my little trick where when I'm color filling, if I have a bunch of selections that I don't want to lose, I fill the parts that I haven't colored yet with magenta, because that's a color I most likely will not be using. And then I'll take a break. This time I think I will run an ad just so that Frank, if you need to get water or something, you can do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. So we'll be right back. Frank, why don't you pick which? It's your choice. It's the passenger's choice. Like what? Which
Well, let's do
video do you want?
Christopher Runciman's Jacob's Apartment review.
Okay. I think this is Christopher's. If not, it's Philip's. But I think this is Christopher's because I haven't labeled them properly, and both
That's
icons look really
Canadian.
similar. Okay. I think this is it. Let's see.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this.
Like, I wanted to hide that and say I picked correctly. It's just that like the first frame are really similar on both. Okay, there we go.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
Okay, how's it going, guys? We're back,
That's
or
good.
I'm back. I don't know. Are you there, Frank?
I'm here. Jacob's Apartment. So I did pick it up, and I was disappointed. So I have a word to
A word.
have a word with Chris.
Nice.
I was highly disappointed.
You're gonna tell Chris how bad it was. Be like, Chris, how dare you promote
How dare
that
you
comic
say
that that I spent 5 years making. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. And again, it'll be like the no, like we all, like I don't know. I gotta get a better camera setup so I can have segments like that where it's just like falling on my knees, like why? And that's where the beef between Frank and I started. We're gonna beef, Frank, you and me.
Yeah, I have it right here. I do have one complaint, but it has nothing to do with you. It's whoever company shipped it. There's like a stick-on label on the back with a barcode, and it's like over the Graphic Monday thing, and like it says 21.95, and I want to take it off, but it's gonna mess up the.
Oh, they didn't use, so whoever the labeler is in the mail room, or whoever did the price sticker, used the wrong kind of sticker. You know, there's like two stickers you can price with. There's one that's meant to be permanent and one that's
Yeah,
peelable.
it looks like underneath there is the barcode on there, but then this one is over it, and it's the sticker, and like, I hate those.
I am guessing why that happened is
It's just a pet peeve. It doesn't like.
yeah. No. I it's weird, but like the behind the scenes stuff on that, from what I understand, is I think quite often when a book is released, from the date of design, print, and release, if inflation occurs, like they have to actually price change.
Oh,
And
okay.
so like because the budget's different at that point. So I think that's why that happens on books. It annoys the crap out of me too, though.
Yeah. It makes sense, but because I bought this on Amazon and it was on sale, I didn't pay 21.95. So I'm trying to remember how much is this? I didn't pay that much. I paid $15.
Well,
So
so you owe me about $5. Okay,
I need to send
noting
you.
that, writing that down.
I need
I'm
to
just
send you
kidding.
a check.
Wouldn't that be dark if like a if like a writer or an artist, like if you ever bought their work on discount, they're just like, okay, and I'm just tallying that up, and they like send you an invoice. You're like, what the hell? Like, oh man, sorry. I'm riffing tonight. I have like weird sketch ideas just popping through my brain.
Hmm.
So
From what I've flipped in the book, I really like April O'Neil's debut in this book.
April O'Neil, yeah, that's true. There, I didn't even make that
She's
connection
a
till
redhead with a yellow
yeah.
dress, but it looks like a yellow jumpsuit when you're first flipping through
It's
it.
true. It is a little bit of a yellow jumpsuit. I will give you that.
I was like, oh, cool, April O'Neil's in this.
I didn't even make that connection. Maybe she was in my subconscious. And I always say that wrong. That's a word I say wrong. I was making fun of the guy in the debate that we were listening to yesterday
Boston.
for saying parallel.
Oh, parallel.
Well, just the fact that he was saying parallel so many times, but he'd say parallel. Like I can't. It's hard to even mispronounce it in the way he was mispronouncing it, but it was noticeable. As much as I was teasing that guy, I want to be fair here and criticize myself for I have the weird little verbal tick for saying subconscious instead of subconscious.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that weird? Like it's my conscience. It's like a Jiminy Cricket in a submarine is the way I pronounce it. Like if you imagine the subconscious, right? Or conscience. Now I'm saying it my wrong saying wrong. I can't even tell what I'm saying anymore, Frank. I've lost touch. Lost touch with reality. I've gone into the subconscious realm. So yeah, I feel like I think I've talked about this. I went on a Columbo kick. Have I told you about that?
Oh yeah,
It's so good.
you mentioned it, and I think I was in the chat, but you mentioned it, and I said um like I can only imagine Peter Falk as Columbo, not if they do a reboot, like it would be really hard to.
I heard that they did a reboot of Perry Mason. That's weird to me too.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but that's weird to me. It's like, okay, if they're going to reboot Perry Mason, they better keep it real formulaic. Have him get confessions out of everyone. Like, you know what I mean? That was half the fun of Perry Mason, is like watching him use his verbal trickery.
Yeah.
Like that's why you would watch Perry Mason. You didn't watch Perry Mason for like Law and Order crime drama, you know.
Yeah. You didn't watch for the courtroom drama. You wanted him to like, haha, I got you.
Like that's another thing that's, oh my gosh, I feel like an old man doing this stream because I'm just like back in my day, but still like it is funny like the evolution of courtroom dramas because I think people don't realize like after Law and Order things changed a bit. And Law and Order was like really impressive when it first came out because it was like one of the first shows that had court cases where the people lost, like they lost the case. That was like this big thing back then. Because you had like Matlock and and like Perry Mason. Matlock would just kind of show up in the courtroom with his like white suit and just be like, I'll tell you what. And the jury just be like, I don't know. He's got a pretty cool white suit. Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, Matlock, he's guilty. That was like every episode. And it's like somebody being like, I don't know. I'm going to outsmart this guy with his white suit. And then he'd just be like, you are not outsmarting me. That's my memory of Matlock. But what's funny is like, so it was refreshing to have something break the formula. But I kind of feel like about the courtroom stuff now, almost the way I feel about like the dark superhero stories, where it's like, okay, Watchmen was so good, right?
Yes.
And then I'm forgetting the one that they animated on Netflix that Corey loves. And I like too. It's really well done. Invincible is really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about. I thought it was on Amazon Prime. I know it was on Netflix.
And I didn't continue watching The Boys, but I think I watched like the first season, and it was really actually I watched like I think maybe the first 2 seasons, but it was pretty good and it was pretty cool and had some fun things. But there's something about it that just gets more and more boring the more it gets like this is a superhero, but when they punch, it breaks people's skulls. You're like, okay, cool, but now it kind of feels like Image Comics in the 90s where it's like that was really cool for a long time, and very shocking and stunning when you saw like superheroes bleed and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also like I said, like it's like it was cool to break the formula, but there is some fun. Like I guess getting back to like the whole courtroom thing, it might be fun to actually watch a show where it's like really unrealistic and the lawyer wins every time. Like because it's been so long since they've made a show like that. So I feel like if they rebooted, if there is indeed a reboot of Perry Mason, and they do some clever thing where they're like, this is going to be Perry Mason, but it's dark and he struggles and he loses cases. It's like, I don't need to see House with a lawyer and have it be Perry Mason. I want to see Perry Mason get his guy, you know? Anyhow, sorry for rambling about that, but yeah, Columbo, they cannot reboot that. That would be insane if they rebooted it.
Yeah, and it's like it's like Magnum PI. It's like it's iconic because of the actor.
Yes. Or Indiana Jones, you know? It's like it just you couldn't I don't think there could be another Indiana Jones than Harrison Ford. That'd just be weird.
They tried with the TV show, but I mean that was short-lived.
Young Indiana Jones. I was so obsessed with Indiana Jones as a kid that I used to watch that show too.
I did like it, but they would change. I think they had like 3 different Indiana Jones.
They had kids books too, and I read them all. They were like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles kids books.
Oh, you know that.
Who was the actor in Young Indiana Jones? Not in the movie because that was River Phoenix, but the like in Indiana Jones 3. But who was the lead actor in Young Indiana Jones, the TV show?
Let's see. He was in Suicide Kings. Young Indy.
Because he's been in yeah, you're right. It is Suicide Kings. I have a visual picture of what he looks like too. Oh, nice. Parallel. Parallel. Yeah, that's it. It's. I think Adam. I think you nailed it. I think what made it so weird when he said parallel was he held the middle L, so it was like parallel. Does that sound right, Frank, or am I still not nailing it? I don't think I think there's something magical about it that I'm missing.
I think he needs to be on as a guest.
I really would love to have him on and have him explain like a lot of the like how magnets affect art. I would love to hear that. It's like, look, you think you're drawing a horizon line, but what you're really seeing is like magnetic refraction from the gamma rays that are shooting through the sky. Wait, what? Is that the right color? Did I draw the wrong hat? Did I get this far and draw the wrong hat?
Oh, is it? Did you?
Oh my gosh, you guys, sequential error. Boop, boop, boop. That's her old hat. Why did I give her the old hat? Oh, that's some old hat BS, man. All right. Let's luckily we're on a color, so we have to fix that. That's where digital art is awesome. So we're going to fix that hat. Yes. He said it's like parallel as opposed to parallel. Yeah.
Yeah. Parallel.
Parallel. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, I don't think I could take another one of those debates, like watching one for probably another year, and then I'll probably rewatch more. I love debates, though. I don't know. I don't particularly like participating in debates, but I really enjoy listening to them. There's something strangely relaxing about that. Is that weird, Frank?
No, I can see it.
Because it's funny. I had to pick up my sister-in-law from work because it's like raining as if it's Portland, Oregon now in like all of Los Angeles, and so the way she usually commutes to work wasn't an option, so I had to go from work to pick her up. And then on the way we were talking about debates and stuff, and I was talking about how funny and interesting it was to kind of hear this like weird debate that I was listening to yesterday, right? Because it was just interesting. It's like, to me, aside from it being possibly entertaining because somebody's not making a good point or something, you also learn a little bit. Like, I learned a bit about people who have a weird belief system that I don't, and now at least I kind of understand a little bit of like the legs their argument is at least attempting to stand on, and it's like fascinating. And she was talking about like just like hating like any sort of like verbal conflict, like how verbal conflict almost feels like violence or something when she hears it. So like, while she can appreciate a debate, she just would never like listen to a debate, like choose to, because it's just, and it's funny because I know people who are like that. Like it feels like there's kind of like two personalities when it comes to things like debate. Like there's people who really enjoy it, it's almost like watching a sport. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like watching football or something, you know? And then there's people who completely really don't enjoy hearing, debate at all, and almost like view it as like this really unhealthy conflict. And it's fascinating that like the kind of differing viewpoints on that. And I wonder why that is. That like it speaks to some people, but it doesn't to others. It's really weird. I don't know why that is. But I think it's gotta be something to do with people's like communication styles, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to wonder if there's like research on that.
I think.
Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
Well, I mean, it might depend on like who's debating, like that Austin guy. Like I found him obnoxious and unbearable. Because when your guy was like trying to explain and kept interrupting, you're googling, like, okay, dude, like that's not a debate. That's just like trying to like make the other person mess up. But there are people like you can hear them just like talk about things, and it's interesting. So
Yeah.
it's like, there's podcasts that I listen to that like I just like to listen to the people.
Yeah.
It might not even be something that like, oh, I don't like this subject, but like I like their take on it, or I like the way they're saying something.
Yeah, like a good example of it is like I don't even know. You know what's funny? I haven't listened to this in years, but back in the day, pre-podcasting, right? There was this show called Car Talk, and it was amazing. It was like the most fascinating thing, and it was like these two old mechanic guys.
Oh, okay.
And they just give like advice on cars, but like for some reason they had such a good like energy, and they were so interesting. And I knew tons of people who were obsessed with listening to this show who could give two craps about cars. It was just like
Yeah.
interesting to hear these guys and their dynamic and them talking about it. And I think it's kind of like a teacher, you know, where like if you've ever
Mhm.
had like a really good teacher where like it's a subject you could care less about, but like their passion and interest in it makes you interested. I don't know
Yes.
if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be kind of one of the things with it where you can listen to like because I'm the same way. I have a few shows that I listen to where it's like people I either politically am like polar opposite from and maybe they're talking politics, or it's
Mhm.
like a subject matter that is like entirely not even of interest to me, but the people are really interesting, you know?
Yes.
Um yeah, that is fascinating. But like yeah, it's interesting to me. Like I haven't met a lot of people who are like passive about debates, like listening to debates. I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
Like usually with opinions, you'll meet people who are like kind of, oh, I don't know, I kind of like them, I kind of don't, that kind of thing about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But with debate, it's like usually a very like sharp. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like a sharp difference. I don't meet a lot of people who are like, yeah, sometimes I'll watch a debate, but you know, yeah, they're fun. But like, where it's like most people I meet, they're either like, I really don't like watching debates, and or they're like, I love watching debates. It's weird. I don't meet a lot of middle of the road people about that. Anyhow,
Oh.
fascinating. I don't know if you're in chat. Let me know. Have you guys met anyone who's like middle of the road about debates? Frank, are you the unicorn, the rare unicorn who's middle of the road about debates?
I haven't listened to that many that I can like. Oh yeah, I can take it or leave it. I listened to some. I know I didn't like the the flat earther one, but
Well, that was testing. To me, the most interesting thing about watching that was watching this guy whose patience is being tested in
yeah.
both cases and seeing how they react and how they navigate that and still manage to kind of come out with a slight optical win or a complete optical win. That's
Uh-huh.
like, it's really hard because I would have trouble in that discussion just keeping my cool. You know, I think I would like lose my mind at some point. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, I was already getting annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like sitting in a room where somebody's like, that table's not a rectangular, and you're like, dude, we're both sitting in the same room. It's a rectangular table. No, that's
Yeah.
not a rectangle. It's a circle. And you're like, but we're both here. Like, look at it. It's and they're just insisting, no, 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 that table's circular. And you're like, do you know what a circle is? And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, a circle. And they describe it, and you're like, okay, so you don't know what a circle is. No, I know what a circle is. You don't know what a circle is. It's this crazy
And
verbal
the model they
gymnastics.
use for the table is off kilter, so it's not a perfect model.
Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't have drawn that as a rectangle right there. And technically, is that a rectangle? Because I mean, from what I understand, a rectangle has four sides, and that seems cut off. And it also seems like it has like way more than 4 sides. So what's going on here? It's like, do you understand dimensions and planes? No, you don't understand dimensions and planes. It'd be funny to simulate one of those debates, but do it over something really absurd. Like take like a glass and have a big heavy debate about whether it is a glass or a mug. Anyhow, but yeah, I don't like, even as somebody who really appreciates and likes listening to debates, I can't listen to the like somebody talk to a flat earther for more than probably about the amount I did. I think that's my fill. I think I reached my limit.
Working on this card.
Oh, hang on. Let me move this so I can see what you're showing. Nice. That is the shredder. That is the shred of all shredders.
He's shredded. And the actor who played young Indy is Sean Patrick
Flanery. Yeah. What else was he in? Wasn't he in like Newsies or something?
He was in the Dead Zone show, the Boondock Saints.
Yeah, he's one of the Boondock Saints.
In Powder, he played Reed. Oh, he was Powder. He was Jeremy Potter Reed. One of the Saw movies, The Final Chapter.
How many Saw movies are there? There's like 50 million of those.
I don't know. This is The Final Chapter, but someone tells you it's not the final chapter. So.
You know what's funny? I feel like horror movies are kind of like debate too. Where there's people who like really love horror movies. Maybe it's not as much as debate though, because I was gonna say there's people who hate, but I would say I'm like middle of the road on horror. Like I enjoy a good horror movie here and there, but it's not like my go-to, you know. Sorry, Ronnie Gunter. If horror is your go-to, you guys should go to Comics de la Muerte. I do like horror comics a lot, though.
Cool.
Because I don't know, it's such a good medium for horror, and I love suspenseful horror and stuff. But like stuff like Saw, it's not that interesting.
Saw 3D.
Saw 3D, like why? Anyhow, hey, we're getting a little further. This is crazy. I might actually finish this tonight. I only have like 40 minutes left though to rock and roll.
Okay.
Frank, I'm gonna get some water. Do you want to promote your wares, or you want me to put on a trailer, or just?
You can put on a trailer.
Okay, let's do. You know what? Let's do Phillips.
Oh, Phillips, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
see here. All right.
Hi, my name is Phil Chandler. I'm a freelance artist, illustrator, and cartoonist. Today, though, however, I want to tell you about a graphic novel I picked up recently called Jacob's Apartment. This book was both written and beautifully illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It is the story of a doomed romance that causes the main character to question his beliefs and his faith, while he's also going through other tragedies in his life. Every page has been illustrated by hand and digitally colored with painstaking detail. It is an emotional story that causes you to think and even question things in your own life. And while the story is a tragedy, it is one that I was completely entertained by and I highly recommend. You can currently find this on Amazon or even check in with your local bookstore and see if you can order it. And while you're at it, you can also check out my Instagram at Phil Chandler Arts and also my YouTube channel by the same name, Phil Chandler Arts. And go buy Jacob's Apartment.
All right. Frank's showing his wares. Oh, you know what? We should do a book show real quick before I get back into coloring, because I keep forgetting to do this. I've been so in like production mode So hold on a sec. Let me go full cam and let's show this off. I don't know how I'm not really a book opener on stream kind of guy, but I got this package. I think it might be Adam Lohr's book. I think. Adam, if this isn't your book, then I'm an asshole. But I'm pretty sure it is. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna open it up. If not, it's like a fulfillment of a Kickstarter or something. So
I have this book here somewhere. I have the first one.
yeah, the first one I got. The second one, yes. Okay, this is. Look at that. Toad Road. Issue 2. I'm excited about that. It's fun to see Adam like pushing out comics. That's cool.
Pushing his words.
Keep them coming. Toad Road, issue 2. Thank you, Adam. That was fun to order, and I will be reading it shortly. But anyhow, it did arrive in the mail like a couple days ago, and I've been meaning to open this on stream. So
it's a little sketch Adam did on the envelope. He said,
yeah, I didn't get a sketch. What the hell, Adam? I'm just kidding. I ordered it from the store, but yeah, it's good. Thank you, Adam Lohr. I'm excited about the second comic and seeing the levels of absurdity that it goes to. And this right here, that sells me on it right there. The Zorko bit. I'm like, just that name Zorko is great. So I'm excited. Cool. All right. Back to the rock and rolling and streaming here. Okay.
rock and roll all night.
That's right. And party every day. What time is it for you, Frank? Are we time changes?
It's 3:22 a.m.
Oh my goodness, dude. That's crazy. It is about 1:22 here. Okay. And I've told you about my like weird misunderstanding of geography, states, times.
It's like Washington time.
Yeah, it's funny that is one of the funniest parts of me being a big fan of Risk, because you'll notice this too. If you watch my Risk streams, it's like I constantly am calling Europe England. It's like a bug and it's like I can correct myself when I'm in my proper frame of mind, but when I'm really focused, like I am when I'm playing Risk, where it's like you have to pay attention to like every person's move, I have no time to correct my defaults. It's just England. Like all of Europe is England. It's like, anyhow, so that is the funniest part of me being really interested in Risk, is the fact that like I can't even remember all the names of the countries that I'm trying to invade, you know? Yeah. So anyhow. But also time zones. Like Frank, you've told me our time difference like a million times and I don't remember it.
Yeah, I'm Central. You can remember it by thinking that Frank is the center.
Oh, that's true.
He's the central of everything.
You're the Earth according to flat earthers. You're the center of the universe.
Flat Earth is pointing to me. That's the center.
Oh man, okay. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the funniest thing from those debates to me still is just the fact, the Atmos thing. I can't get over it. I couldn't get over it because he said it like twice and I didn't really catch it. And it was like the third time where he like intentionally stops before saying sphere that I was like,
yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I didn't even think of that.
He's not allowed to say sphere, but he can say globe.
Yeah. And I was wondering like if they go to like, I don't know, like a restaurant and there's like a fish tank that's like circular, are they like, oh, move that out of my sight. Like everything, like wheels. Just well, I guess wheels wouldn't bug them because wheels are kind of flat. But I was just wondering if like every time they see like a sphere, they're just like, oh, I'll get you, sphere. I'll get you. Like I don't know. Sorry, that's mean spirited, but it still was really funny to me. I can't get over it. There's some other things that like. I would love to like do live commentary on some kind of meme stuff, but not meme like the name meme, but like memes, you know.
Yeah.
But there's like certain people I don't think I want to like get in tit for tats with online, you know. That would be really fun to like watch and kind of comment on, but I also don't want like the back and forth of that kind of thing because again, like I enjoy listening to debates. I'm not really particularly seeking them out, you know.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I gotta think of another topic that would be fun to kind of watch some stuff on. I get curious about a lot of weird things, so it'd be fun to like go down some weird rabbit holes. Have you gone down any rabbit holes of like curiosity about something recently?
Let's see. Recently, I'm trying to think.
Like I know this is weird.
I've lost like oh, I'm gonna look something up and I'll find something and I'll just like be looking into it. Let me just check my history. But yeah, I know I've gone like I've done that before. I just can't think of something off the top of my head.
Like for me, the most recent one is during this conversation where I thought of that weird John Mellencamp lyric, and I was like, why did he write that lyric? Like, I don't even like John Mellencamp. I don't like that song. No offense to people who do like it, but it is really like bugging me. Like this whole conversation, it's just sticking in the back of my head. Like, why would you phrase eating a chili dog as sucking on a chili dog? I just don't understand it. I want to Google it and find out, like, has he been, I'm sure he's been asked that question. He had to be asked that question because it's a weird turn of phrase to put for like eating a chili dog. Just, I don't know. It's in like one of the most popular pop songs ever written. Like, it's just like, why? Like, and like, it's kind of one of those things, kind of like why I watched. Is that same thing that'll just stick in my head and make me go, why? That's part of why I like wanted to watch those flat Earth debates, because I just like. I still, even after watching them, I'm like, why? Like, I still don't understand it. I still can't even, I don't know, grasp the like what would lead someone to kind of like adopt that thought, you know?
Yeah. I just remembered the recent today or earlier, I guess today. So do you remember, like, I think it was like a few years ago, there was this whole trend or craze with killer clowns, that people were like seeing clowns, or people were dressing up as clowns and just like walking around and
just to be like creepy. Yeah.
So I remember coming across a YouTuber, and it was like a family vlog YouTube, and they kind of like almost overnight, their subscribers went up because they did a creepy clown video, and then they started doing more and more and started doing it like if it was like in a daily occurrence where this clown kept breaking in. So it was like,
wait, you have to describe these videos too, because now I'm curious. Like, so what's the first video they did?
So it's just like a family vlog. So they just like, it's this guy and his daughters, and like it's just like he was just like vlogging their lives. Like, oh, we're like they would do like pranks and stuff like that. Oh, we're gonna do this challenge. We're gonna do this, and so there was, I guess, one where they had seen someone in a clown costume, and they kind of like record part of it. So that was real. So what they ended up, the guy ended up doing, he got that and used it, and then he was like, and it was around the whole creepy clown thing. So like, oh, we're gonna do a skit, but they didn't really say, they acted like it was real. So
Okay.
they kept doing more and more, and they're like, oh, I was looking at the video footage inside the house. The clown broke in, and like the
Oh,
clown kept
nice.
breaking in. The clown kept harassing them, and at first, like
So it's like those ghost videos or whatever, where it's like, oh my gosh, the clown, it's coming back, that kind of
yeah.
thing.
Well, they ended up doing ghost paranormal videos after that. So it was like he was just doing the stuff, and I was thinking about it, like I wonder if anyone ever did, because I know people were doing videos because they weren't sure. They're like, I think this is fake, but they're acting like it's real, and they had like a lot of fans defending them. There's a lot of little kids defending them. Um, so like, well, let me see if anything ever came up from it. And it turned out 9 months ago, the guy that was doing the vlogs, he did a video or saying like yeah, it was me. Well, it was like we get people. It was skits, it was friends. Um, and what happened was that he got really like he liked the creativity and kind of playing it, and it was getting views. But but he said like I just ran it to the ground, like until like people were kind of like sick of it. And but like I really liked it, and I was like reliving it because I think like his daughters ended up like growing up and moving out, so he was like re-uploading older videos to relive that. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's what happened. That's why he kept doing it. But that was one where I was just like looking into like, okay, what
Yeah.
happened, and so like watching like some more videos of people like doing
Creepy
reacting.
clown
Like
bits.
I think this is fake. I can't tell. And like and we're just reading the old comments from 6 years ago. Like, no, it's real, and this is why it's real. Like it's just like, it's like little kids defending. Uh, but like, but yeah, that was I was like, oh, okay, so he's still around and he's still doing some videos, but he's now doing it. Like he lets you know that they're bits and skits. So he's gonna do something.
Did you ever see like, so this is like back like a little bit like very shortly after Kevin and I did Big Illustration Party Time as a podcast. And
Okay.
Kevin Cross and his friend Matt Delight did this bit, and I participated in a few of them too, where it was like a Tumblr or something that they set up that was like this story of this character Soft Serve, but it was Soft Serve like without a T.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that whole thing, like the Soft Serve trilogy kind of thing?
I don't. I think you might have mentioned it before, but I don't. I think I ever saw it.
Oh man, it was classic. So like it started with them like taking like historical photographs that were like these weird kind of creepy black and white grainy photographs, and then they would Photoshop in like a soft serve ice cream cone with like a baby's face on it, and it was soft serve, and he's like been haunting people throughout history. And then we did like he did a couple like podcast episodes where it was like finding soft serve and the history of soft serve, and I think I did one with him where I did like my testimonial for like when I saw soft serve, and like it was like it just kind of exploded out of like one little bit that they were joking about at a restaurant to where like they had like sightings at like restaurants and like all of this stuff where they just photoshopped this creepy soft serve ice cream cone with like a smiling baby's face on it. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. But that kind of reminds me of it because it was like kind of like that where they were playing it so straight. It was very funny. I feel like Kevin should bring back soft serve and bring it back hardcore when he starts posting videos again. That would be amazing. I'd love to see like a soft serve documentary. It'd be fun to do like fake documentaries or fake like newsreels, like again like that old timey stuff, like fake like like you know, I don't know, like fake history videos, but like intentionally fake history, like not, trying to fool people or something, but make them real, like authentic still, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem of being a creative is like the limited time we have, because it's like there's a million things I'd love to do. Comics are kind of my primary thing, but like there's a million things that are just creative things that would be fun to do, And let me list them all right now. So number 1, no, I'm just kidding.
Off-serve documentaries.
Yeah, mockumentary would be fun. It'd be fun to make at least one mockumentary.
Yeah, that'd be good. Like I would like to do one.
It'd be funny if the art casters, like our little community, like all collaborated to make like.
That's what I was thinking. If we did like an Artcasters mockumentary.
Yeah, but like we could all decide on like some absurd topic, and then we could all contribute like a little segment, like an interview segment, and then Corey Kerr could spend all the time to edit it. That's how it would go down. I'm joking, of course, because like as if Corey has the time to do that. We're just gonna volunteer people for. But it would be funny. I don't know what the documentary would be about, though. What's like a plausible thing? It could be just like a fake conspiracy theory. So you could almost do it like, I don't know. Do you remember that era where like Loose Change was like the big conspiracy theory movie? Do you remember that movie?
Really? No, I don't remember that.
It was like a movie that was like pretending that like 9/11 was totally fake and all this stuff. And it was like this huge thing. At like for a bit in culture where like everyone watched that movie and a bunch of people believed it. Like it was like the big hip like conspiracy theory of the time. Anyhow, so it would be funny to do a documentary like that, like a it's like a big political expose or something, but it's about something totally ridiculous.
Well, I was thinking it kind of like the soft serve, where it's about a fictional artist, and everyone's talking about
their impact.
I remember when I first came across this. I remember I met him once before the all the act what happened, and then just everyone talking about the impact and like the impact on the world and art, and it's just someone that never existed.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the idea of it being art related. I wonder if it could be like was he an artist who I'm still stuck on the chili dog thing. Is he an artist who made art with chili dogs? Like he's dipping chili dogs or hot dogs in chili and then drawing using the hot dog as like a pen.
Well, your segment could be whatever you want it to be. That's the thing.
I'm just trying to think like what would be the contribution of the artist.
I think that will be the fun part where everyone comes up with something. It's the same artist.
Yeah.
I remember when he did this, and I remember when this happened, and like it's got like, and he's the reason I decided to
like I owe my career. Yeah, I owe my career to Frank McFrankfurter. No, I can't think of what would be a name. What would be his name? We need to riff on this. We need to make this happen. That actually wouldn't be complicated to put together. I don't think.
Yeah, because everyone could do a video in their time, and it would just be like get all the videos together and just and do inserts with the artist picture.
Yeah, and we'd need to have like one person kind of cast as the artist so that we could have like footage of like, you know, them doing whatever their weird technique is. I feel like there should be one unifying thing though. Like maybe it is like whatever innovation they did with art. Like there has to be something that would make all our stories plausible, right? Like I don't know if that makes sense. Like a unifying factor. Maybe it's just that like the art's just really what would it be? It could just be something that we're all pretending is really profound that isn't like that amazing. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it could be maybe that the artist used a pencil or something and it's just like, I mean, I never thought of using a pencil before meeting this guy. And he used a pencil. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? And he's like, I'm sharpening a pencil. And I was like, I never thought to sharpen a pencil. I just never, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. There's a couple ways we could go about it. I can't think of it though. Frank, we got to workshop that.
I think it was a certain type of tool.
Or it could just be that like they make like, I don't know, like it could be like talking about the profound works of this artist or something, and then like it pans to their art and it's like drawings by my son Ben or something. I don't know. No, because no, I just can't. I'm trying to think. Okay, it couldn't. I can't think of anything. I'm blocked on it. It'll come. We'll come up with something. I like that idea actually. That's more plausible than even unifying everybody to do comics. Because if you think about it, like we're all working on projects, right?
Yeah.
But like how long, like if you got like an email or something and it was just like, hey, can you record like a conversation about this guy? He was impactful in this way. Just riff on it. You can make up whatever experience you want.
Then that's what I was thinking. Like, not even like each person would have a story. Like I'm thinking, like because Jim, you tell him something, he'll come up with something right then and there on the spot.
No, okay. So, now I'm kind of thinking I can see how we could make it consistent. So what if we did it like a exquisite corpse? Have you ever done the exquisite corpse thing with like art? Yeah. So it's like it could be like that where you have one person do a video, then you pass it on, and the next person does another video about a different experience. And the only catch is you just have to build off of the character that was presented in the first video. So it's we're like weaving a tale.
It's kind of like tell paper.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that idea because then like everybody could like build on this crazy story. Yeah, it'd be like telephone. Yeah, for sure. That's interesting. This is the problem with limited time. I love that idea. I don't see why that couldn't happen though. Because
it just needs one person to start off the video and then pass it on to the next one.
Oh, and it would be hilarious because we could also specify like if you can put yourself in a location that's like a cliche documentary location, so you're like by a fire or you're in an office or maybe you're like doing a man on the street interview kind of thing, but like each person could pick their own like key location and act as if they're being interviewed for it, right?
Or like the office where like there's like being asked, or it's not being asked, but they're
That could be so funny.
way out of it's documentary.
Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. Yeah, I love it because then like there's all sorts of angles people could go. They could talk about like college days with this artist, how the artist inspired their work, the artist's various works, and like just kind of build on it. I don't know. I like this idea, Frank. How's your drawing coming?
Good. I'm just coloring.
Hell yeah. Shredder. That's a pretty great name
I did
for
hop today.
a bad guy. Nice. I haven't watched A Bug's Life in a long time.
It's a book.
So I'm at the background part, which is great. The only problem is, books. Every time. Every freaking time. The problem with drawing backgrounds when you have a color comic is coloring backgrounds. Because then, well, and honestly, coloring backgrounds is usually not so bad, especially with like the flats that I'm doing. Because I'm not doing like rendering, like the rendering's already done. So, but with the flats, like, it's not so bad until there's a bookshelf full of books. And then I'm like, why? Why did you give me this coloring job? Okay. Has it been like crazy rainy in Texas, or is it just like pretty non-rainy?
No, I think it rained once, and that was it. And I think, was it yesterday or no? Sunday morning, it was like, before us, cold. And then like in the evening, it was a little fresh, but not as cold. And then the next day, hot. So the weather's just been all over the place.
Yeah. Here it's just been crazy. It feels like we're in the Northwest. Very strange. A lot of flooding too. Because that's one of the issues with California, where it's like we don't get tons of rain. And so when it does rain, like none of the infrastructure is really prepared for rain. Because when does it rain, right?
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating because it's like streets get all crazy and yeah, it was nuts. I don't know. Did you ever listen to the Beastie Boys, Frank?
I have like.
Okay, I'm gonna blow another. This is another spoiler of my vlog. But when I was driving to pick up my sister-in-law, I drove by a business called Michael Diamonds. And I was like, Mike D. I thought it was like. Anyhow, I thought it was funny. That was my bit from the Beastie Boys. I'm here all night, guys. All night. Oh no, I may not be able to finish the flats in time because I have to call it at 2.
Okay.
That is a decision that my wife is a genius, and I listen to her. She had just noticed if I ever push past 2, I'm kind of like, that's the time, that's the unrecoverable time where I'm like not functional the next day. Whereas as long as I get out by 2, I'm pretty pretty good to go because I get enough sleep. So.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's good to know that line because you don't want to cross whatever line your line is for that kind of thing. Or I shouldn't say you, I should say I don't want to cross that line.
You crossed the line.
You crossed the line. Frank, if you say that, you gotta say it like pro wrestler style. Oh, you crossed the line.
A pretty fool that crosses the line.
That is great. Okay. Oh, another thing we do need to plan, Frank, is you and I need to have, you know, the like wrestler smack talk sessions, like that come before like a wrestling match. I think it would be funny if you and I each had a video where it's like, oh, Frank, I'm coming for you. We're gonna get into it. And you won't survive. Like that kind of thing where it's like, but maybe it could be about like a draw for something where it's like, I'm going to draw and I'm going to draw so good that it's going to draw your drawing drawn away. Like, I don't know. We got to figure it out, but that would be a funny thing too. Yeah. Especially if we had it rotate. You know, we got Scott in on it, got Jim in on it. Like, that would be hilarious.
I know that's something we talked about when you had the IRS show and the Tarago was streaming at the same time. So it was like doing a SmackDown video, like, don't watch the IRS, watch the Tarago, or don't watch the Tarago, watch the IRS. So.
Could be very funny.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Tarago, is Tarago gonna start happening again? Out of curiosity?
Yeah. I did one, I think early this month.
Okay. Good.
I had a Christian creator.
I noticed a lot of posts on Salazar Art Nation, so I wanted to make sure. A Christian art creator for which comic?
It was on the comic. It was a role-playing game.
Oh, cool. I'm going to have to watch that. I don't know how I missed it.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of views when we talk about Christians. When we talk about Christianity. And I kind of did earlier. I did earlier in the day. I was trying to, and he's actually from California, so he had free time, and I think that day I had to go do something, my usual time, but I was gonna cancel it so I can do the show, and then he said like, oh, I can do it earlier, so like, oh, okay, that's great, and that way I can do the show and then still go do what I had. I think I was going to Bible study, so yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, yeah. It's I think like to get YouTube views on that, you'd have to make it like a debate. So you'd have a Christian comic creator and then like an atheist comic creator, and then have them debate comics. I'm just kidding. But
I would lose. I would lose my co-host.
I would lose most debates. In all honesty, I'm not a master at debating. Okay, so I'm here all night, guys. Well, not really, actually. We're gonna wrap up. I have to fill. It sucks because I came so close to finishing this page. I'll show you guys what I got done before. So let me finish this.
A marker.
Okay, so I'm just gonna have to fill the rest that I haven't filled with magenta. Thanks to everybody who showed up in the chats. Thanks to Frank for being awesome and coming on and chatting with me. So this is what I got done so far on the page. It's pretty happy with it. everything in magenta still needs to be colored, which isn't much. So I'll probably wrap this up tomorrow. And I probably will be live streaming tomorrow. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, hit the bell. That way you get notifications where we're about to go live. I was secretly hoping that I'd wrap up and be able to play a game of Risk, but this might be the night where I have to skip Risk. Thanks a lot, rain in California. I'm joking, but that is kind of the reason I can't play Risk tonight. But if you want to get notifications when I'm about to go live, hit subscribe, hit that bell. You saw trailers for Jacob's Apartment and I believe 2 stories. If you haven't yet, pick those up. Be like Frank. Be a good person. Pick it up. And then aside from that, check out Frank's art, his channel, Salazar Art Nation, Tarako Creative Cast. Frank, where else you want to send people?
Let's see. Oh, if you want to see stuff I've done, you can check out my Instagram. I post stuff up in there almost daily. And but yeah, my channel, Tarako Creative Cast, and Salazar Art Nation. And check out if you want to get some sketch cards, or I got a couple of copies left of Captain Goggles and Masked Woman. I'm trying to move those so I can put the comic on print on demand, but I want to get rid of all the physical copies I have left. I only have 2. That way there's none, and I just have it on the store, on like Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, and it's your last chance to get like an offset, like beautifully printed copy of it. It's not that print on demand won't be good, but like these will be, the last of that run. So
well, if I do sketches on the backboards, and I include, so these are the ones I have left.
Mm-hmm.
This is the $40 one where I did a remark, and there's a print and some stuff, and
I love it.
Yeah.
So cool. Check out Frank's stuff. Frank, thanks for hanging out with me, and that's awesome. And thanks to everybody who showed up in the chats. It's been fun. I always really appreciate the fact that it can be like 11 o'clock at night, and I can be like, I'm gonna work on comics, turn on the stream, and there are people who show up and hang out with me. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, and I also really need to get some sleep so that tomorrow I can work and then do this all again tomorrow night.
I gotta wake up and do a speech in the morning. So.
Oh, nice! Congrats on doing a speech, and good luck. Oh, one last thing. The next stream, another reason to be subscribed and get the bell. Who knows? It might be a risk. I mean, it's definitely going to be an art stream because I'm in the coloring process and I like to stream when I'm doing that. But who knows? There might be risk. There might be debates. There might be commentary. There might be us just going down a rabbit hole and Googling whilst working and seeing if there's any interviews with John Mellencamp explaining the whole chili dog scenario. Because I don't understand that lyric. And I think that might be a fun little path to go down and find out, like, where did that come from? Why did a person write that lyric in a song? It's an interesting lyric. I have no idea. Who knows? But you can find out by being subscribed and getting notifications by hitting that bell. All right. That'll do it. Have a good night. Night, Adam. Night, Vic. Night, Philip. Thanks. Well, Philip's already gone, but Philip, thank you for showing up as well. Sorry for crossing streams. All right. See you guys. Have a good night.
Night.